Hello and welcome to a Bergkamp Wonderland and Arsenal podcast. I'm Gimli and tonight I'll be joined by, first up is our producer and dare I say it, my actual hero, it's Danny the GFP.
Honk honk.
Hello Mother Trucker.
Oh, bonjour senor.
They're already laughing.
Oh, see that or they've gone.
Yeah, they've switched off after 10 seconds.
Fuck them.
So how do this week then, Governor?
I've been out and about in me van, honking around. Went to McDonald's. Oh, it's lovely.
You didn't like McDonald's?
I don't. It's shit. I had an argument with some bloke who parked in the wheelchair spot at the co-op in a mini convertible. He come out and we were sat there in my van waiting, my Volkswagen Charan, and Sean had a windrobe, and I went, "You were right. That's the kind of fucking arsehole that would park in a wheelchair space." And he just looked at me and then got in his car, and then I kept abusing him as he sat in his car, and then he followed us home.
I had that once. I parked in disabled because being down here, right, in Wales, I don't care where I park.
Well, looking at you, you'd think you've got some kind of mental issues.
No, well, this granny went, "You're not disabled," and I went, "I've got Tourette's, you cunt." Literally, fucking quick as that. Lovely stuff, we'll move on. Next up is old reliable himself, when really he's neither. But I jest, it's Geoff Arsenal. Hello, Geoff.
Hello, Gim, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, got a bit of a cold, but, you know, the sexy croaky voice is there.
Swearing at pensioners. Steve has to watch out.
I will say this was some time ago.
You say that, yeah.
But when I go up to Asda, I still park in disabled. It's not put me off. It's a way of life.
You're only one chromosome away from being a Robert Downey, aren't you?
No, because I'm looking after my legs. But if I walk too much, by the time I get to 60, I'll be actually in a wheelchair, won't I? So I'm just using the disabled spot in younger life, so I don't have to use it when I'm older. Exactly.
Genius. More should do that.
Hashtag Gimli logic. Right. Next up is the man with the mutton chops that can strike fear into any opponent. It's Arsene Carpenter. Hello, Kris.
Hello, good evening all. How are we?
Did you like the intro?
That's brilliant. Yes, yeah. I know who that's for, but anyway.
He sounded a little bit like Carnage there for a minute. You know that?
Who's the Carnage? I don't recognise that name or sound. It's been that long.
I can't compete with such royalty as that man.
The bloke's practically anonymous, probably balls deep in some broad as we speak.
I heard that when the Vatican were doing the sainthoods, it was the last Pope John Paul II, the other Pope, and FK. They were the three that were up for it.
Well, they probably knighted his John Thomas, didn't they?
They said, "Wait till you're dead. We'll fucking make you a saint, sir."
He's most probably out there impregnating someone now as we speak.
Probably. Right, next up is our angry Venezuelan who's, what did we say, the Chuck Norris of the podcast. Probably tanked up on Jack Daniels too. Hello, John.
Fuck off.
Oh, you can tell he's got to the end of the season, he just couldn't give a fuck.
I could give a flying fuck at this point.
Oh, fair enough. You've been roped in at this late stage because this show actually appeals to you and people love what you say.
I like breaking hearts. It's fun.
Oh, wow, the Karen Benzema bit's coming up later, so over to you when it comes up.
Absolutely.
Delusion of the highest order. Right, and finally, some mistake him for a driving instructor from the BSF. It's Raj Patel.
Very funny. That's just hilarious. Did he take you all day to write that out?
Yeah. About 2.5 hours.
That was terrible. Honestly, it's terrible. How are you anyway?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. Just out of curiosity, how many times do you hear that a day?
About 476 times, and I block them all. So I've got a block list of about 12,000 now. So.
Oh, I'm done. I'm such a prick. Right, we'll start off then by going straight over to Danny, who's got all the scores from Arsenal across the board.
Oh, I was just watching the highlights of the Norwich game. Right, because I've forgotten what it was all about. The season is finished now for the youths. The under-21s got relegated, so that's next season is a new season, and then we can all start again. But the ladies played in the FA Cup semi-final. It was a neutral ground. I can't remember where it was, but we beat Chelsea 5-3 after being 1-0 down. Kelly Smith got 2, Danielle Carter got 1, Shinobu Onabanubu, sorry. Her surname is Ono, O-H-N-O. Shinobu, she probably said that, oh no, when she heard me try and pronounce her name. She got 1, and Shelley Kerr also got 1. They play Everton in the final, so if you want to go along, it's been held at MK Dons, 1st of June, 4:30pm. As opposed to AM. So if you do go along, tell all the ladies I said hello. We've only played one league game of the season. Most other teams have played 2 or 3, and we're still second. That's how fucking good we are. And we are now playing Reading tonight in the League Cup. And this is the 4th League Cup so far they've done. We won the first 3 of them because they didn't usually bother doing one. So we are quite awesome when it comes to League Cups. So there you go, that's all it is. And a little thing on injuries. Coming up for the Cup final, Vermaelen and the Ox have late fitness tests. Gnabry is out for that, he won't be playing. Miachi and Walcott, they're out for the season, so they should make the beginning of next season. But yeah, it's a bit of a shame that Gnabry, but they've got so many players now that they're going to have to get a bigger bench like they do in Italy, where they can have as many subs as you want.
Lovely stuff.
Set them all done now.
Right, no, that's fantastic. And I'd like to be the first to congratulate you on a super season of your scores from across the board segment.
Oh, it's been at times emotional, and at times it's been David Beckham-esque.
Oh, it's at times I've had to touch myself. It's been that good.
Oh, there's a song about that.
Yeah, I believe it was the ending to the other podcast.
It was. Sadly, she passed away. I didn't know. She was Australian. The woman who sang the Divinals. I touched myself. She not only she passed away, but she was Australian.
Was she really?
Yeah, very sad.
Oh.
Very sad story. It was a great song.
Big hello to all our Australian listeners.
Right, boobs.
First up tonight, we've got the final game of the season to talk about against Norwich. 2-0 on the day and a solid performance which saw another super goal from our Welsh wizard, Aaron Ramsey. Danny, please, let's get your thoughts on this one.
Oh, I was quite I think after 2 seasons ago, the last game of the season, we've been let down a little bit because you expect such great things from the last game of the season with that Man City, Man United, QPR triangle. But this season, I got up early. I was nice and ready. I say got up early. I was sitting in the sitting room naked, just getting dressed as the game kicked off because I couldn't be bothered to get. My plan was to get up for the Grand Prix. And then Sean said, "Shouldn't you be getting up soon for the football?" I went, "Oh God!" So I got up and just sat there getting dressed. And
so it was a different case of a Grand Prix then.
It was a minute, it's a little one. Yeah, it was. I had that on. Plus, I was watching the Man City game at the same time, and it was very much of a muchness. It was. I think the highlights of the game for me was the superb goal by Ramsey, which is. Well, we're just doing the awards for the Bergkamp Wonderland awards of the season. We're going to have 10 or 15 of them. They'll be up for voting later next week, and trying to pick all the goals. And I've realised out of the 5 or 6 goals that are my favourite, he scored 3. Rosicky got 1 and Wilshere got the other 2, but that was definitely got to go into as one of the goals of the season for us. It's absolutely stunning. It was lovely to see Diaby come on, lovely to see him getting stuck in straight away, and it was nice to see that no one got injured and that Norwich didn't go out there to being a bunch of arseholes like some other teams would, playing against a team that's coming up for a cup final, and didn't go out there to try and kick us to pieces either.
I think they already knew that, they weren't going to score, what was it, 17 or 18 goals they had to beat us by?
Yeah, I had 20 quid on them beating us 17-0.
Oh, you're such a twat.
I'd have won £6 billion. I'd have owned France.
The thing is, I don't know about you boys, and we'll go to Geoff next, but where do you think we would have finished with Ozil and Rambo fit? I mean, the last couple of games that they've both played in have just been fantastic. They click together. They seem to read each other so well. Geoff?
I'm full of regret that we didn't have those guys because it is quite clear. Any sane person has seen the impact that they've had and how we've settled when they're back in the team. I think they would have made the difference. And even though we all know that we needed a striker at the start of the season that would score us maybe 25 or 30 goals in the league to push us on, I think we'd have really had a proper go at winning it. What was we 7 points behind or something like that at the end of the season, whatever it was. I mean, I'm sure we'd have gained points with those two. But it is what it is, isn't it? You do have injuries. Unfortunately, we had all them injuries at a really, really bad time when we was playing all the big teams, and it just didn't happen for us, did it? Which is a shame, but man, if we'd have had those 2 guys in there, and you're forgetting about Theo, and we had the Ox out for a lot of the season as well. So we've had key injuries for all of the season, and mainly those key injuries against the big teams, which was a big blow for us, and that's where we fell away.
And Kris, talking about injuries, Sick Note was back and he got a little bit of playing time. What did you make of his cameo?
Yeah, God bless him. I mean, yeah, there's not much more that can be said than what we've already had over the number of months, or what is now a year since he's been out. I was pleased for him, really, just to see him back in his shirt, back on the pitch, playing football. The guy's taken an almighty amount of stick for something that, let's be honest, was never anything he could control himself. It's not his fault he's been crocked. One thing that was really nice to see him was just sort of the ovation he got from the fans was fantastic. And it was quite touching, because obviously our fans do have, we have a really good away following, and when it is shown up so well, I thought that was a really good, really nice touching image for him to come onto the pitch with. And he still looks like he's got it. I mean, you don't lose your ability, but his first touch was good. He still looks athletic. I guess the only problem is we've seen this before, haven't we? And how long it lasts is the worry. But hopefully, fingers crossed, if he can get back to some sort of fitness, some sort of if body can get used to the demands that is going to be of a professional footballer, you never know, we might still see a player there.
And Raj, we'll continue with the Diaby theme. Where do we actually stand on him at the moment? Is he under contract? Is he going to get another contract? Is he gone in the summer? Can you shed a little bit of light on this for our listeners?
I think we discussed it a couple of pods ago, but I think his contract runs out next year. Personally speaking, I think he's a great player. When he's fit, he's top class, but I can't trust him on his injuries. I personally wouldn't trust him on his injuries. And I think next year, if we get the chance to get rid of him, I think we'll have to. Unless, of course, he stays fit for a year. But, in recent history, that hasn't been proved right. So, I mean, it's so hard. I mean, I feel really sorry for him. It's not his fault that he's gone through all this. And my heart goes out to him. But is he surplus requirements? I think yes.
And John, let's have your take on it as well, please.
Well, I mean, we always talk about having, depth at the squad. Diaby fit for a year, obviously adds that. He can't help that, like the others have said, he can't help that he was injured. So, but he'll add something, as long as he stays fit. How long that, will that be? Nobody knows.
No, very true. Continuing with you, John, Jenkinson grabbed a goal. I believe it was his first for Arsenal. Where do we see his future next season? Do we see him as deputising for Sanya, or playing in Sanya's place in his absence? Or do we see him maybe going out and grabbing a loan at a Premier League team?
Well, I mean, I think, with all the recent reports, the Arriere from Toulouse is probably coming to the club this summer. Jenkinson, he did grab his first goal for the club. Gav's not with us today because he's still, cleaning his his shorts, his man juice. But I mean, honestly, listen, I love the kid. I love his, that he's 100% Arsenal diehard every time he hits the field. But he's making the same mistakes the first year he signed. He did it again, last year versus Swansea. He did it again this year versus Chelsea in the Cup. His decision making is horrible. That's only going to be eradicated by a loan move, in my opinion, because I don't, as an Arsenal supporter, I don't want him learning on the job. I want him ready to play and at his best. And that's not going to be the Jenkinson that we're going to see if we throw him in the deep end next year. So, I would prefer if he goes out and get a loan move, and we bring in somebody like Arriere that those two can battle it out, just like Monreal and Gibbs have on the other end.
Yes. We'll move on then. We will draw a line under this bit. I think the last question that I've got to ask, and I will put it out to all of you, is did it look like we had one eye on the final? I mean, was the decision to put out a full-strength team the right one? Geoff?
Oh, you know what? I was surprised, to be honest with you, that the Wenger put out a full, a strong team, we'll call it. I thought he was going to put a couple of young kids in there to finish it off, but obviously he respected the Premier League and put out a decent side where no one could complain, and wanted to continue, the winning run and the momentum and get the 3 points, which they did quite comfortably. You know what? Nobody got injured, so it's got to be that. It's got to be classed as a success, really, isn't it? We've got Rosicky out there playing. Like you say, Diaby got a bit of a game as well, which was fantastic to see.
Mm.
So I think it was a good move in the end of the day.
And Danny, good move for you?
Yeah. I can see both sides of it. Personally, what you want about just for I was reading what everyone's putting in the window because someone's just sounded like they've just been killing a budgie.
I thought it was you eating a packet of mini cheddars.
Oh, here we go. It was Raj eating his Ferrero Rocher. You shitbag.
I forgot to mute.
How middle class is that?
Oh, I know. That's how the movers and shakers in the learning to drive world move.
Don't eat your pay packet all at once, Raj. You know.
Payday today.
Oh, lovely. So, were you on about with was he right to pick those players in the starting lineup?
Yeah,
I wouldn't have done it. I'd have given as many of the youth players a run out like I always do when I'm playing football management games. It's nice to give them a little bit of experience. It's nice to let them Viviano is now going to have cost Arsenal £500,000 loan fee, and then probably 30 grand a week, and we haven't got a single second of use out of him. He should have played in goal. Well, I suppose, but I think. This is what the thing I was thinking about. Now that he had, and he said Rosicky playing in goal there, Fabianski playing in goal, I think that was a little signal to that maybe he's not going to be playing in the cup final. I know we might talk about this later, but yeah, I can understand that move. It would have been nice that Viviano, because he's cost us £1.5 million this year, and we've got absolutely no use out of him at all. So it's a bit pointless. But I personally would have played all the players who hadn't played all season, hadn't played much. I would have definitely rested the likes of Ozil and Ramsey because they didn't need to play. I wouldn't have played. Sagna didn't play, did he, at all? Was Sagna even on the bench?
I couldn't tell you.
No, I don't even think Sanya wasn't on the bench. I'll keep saying Sagna. But yeah, I think
Sonia started at centre back.
Centre back, yeah.
Oh, I'm thinking through that. My head where was he? Because I don't remember seeing him on the bench. Yeah, of course he did because he rested Pear, didn't he?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just thinking back at it all. So there's not much choice. I haven't got that many players. It'd be nice to bring the likes of Olsen to have got a game, or Bergkamp. Is he back from Watford yet? Maybe give him a game. Just these players so you can get your first game out of the way. And I don't think they really were playing like the cup final was coming up. I think Ramsey definitely showed that he was up for the game and showed a hell of a lot of professionalism with his attitude towards the game. And Ozil was pretty quiet. And Giroud, I thought Giroud was played man of the match for me.
Mm.
If you look at the stats, though, I mean, we had like 90% pass accuracy. We had 62% of the possession. So I think while it wasn't, there was no meaning to the match whatsoever on either side, we attacked it like it was a preparation. We went there, the lads went there to get 60 minutes, to 90 minutes and to keep their form for the final. I think they have, the eyes on the prize.
How about Ozil watch? There's only 4 stats for that.
If you've got an Ozil watch prepared, I did have a bullet point for it. John just used 2 of my bullet points with a 62 possession and 90% pass completion. I will say the final one, 8 shots on target. Sorry. That's all right. 4 off target. Stats courtesy of BBC Sport.
You should avoid BBC Sport and go to whoscored.com. It's much better. Gives you loads more stats.
I'm a simpleton, really. I like what I like, and I know what I like.
As far as an Ozil watch, he had 94% pass accuracy.
Oh, here we go.
100 touches.
We're on the same site.
The man just gives me wood.
Yeah, didn't have any shots though, which is, I thought, in such an open game, I was quite surprised to have seen that.
Mm.
But I suppose he didn't want to go and get injured. He was easing himself in. When you're 2-0 up, there's not really much you can do, is there? Because they're not going to get a 19-goal swing now, are they? 17 possibly, but 19, that was never going to happen.
I will say one thing about Ozil Watch. I know it's not game related, but Santi Cazorla came out this week and said that he'd settled in London, that he was enjoying his football, and that's always nice to hear a fellow professional speaking highly of a teammate.
It certainly is.
So, right then, we'll move on then, and our first topic of conversation sees us debate the possible inclusion of B teams in a new Division 3. Now, I know Raj is chomping at the bit to talk about this, so let's explain it in a bit more detail. So, Raj, please.
Well, Greg Dyke, who's a complete and utter moron, to be honest, came up with a commission report a few days ago about putting a division between League Two and the Conference full of B teams. And he seems to think that if you did that, we could push decent English talent through into the England setup over a few years, and we'll be ultimately stronger for it in the end. But to be honest, it's rubbish. He hasn't thought it through, and there's been a lot of vilification for that report. I mean, someone said earlier today in the newspapers that maybe it's a stupid idea, but at least it provokes debate. But Martin Samuel, who's one of my favourite sports writers, came out with a brilliant quote, said it might be a stupid idea, and it might be there to provoke debate, but it's because it's stupid that he said it basically. So it's ridiculous. I mean, he thinks that our second best players or our third string players or whatever will go down into that division and play football. But a good example is Courtois for playing for Chelsea. He's not going to go down to that division. He's going to still go out to Atletico Madrid and do a loan there. The best players will still go out to these big European teams, and these B teams are there in name only. They'll be playing fifth string players. It's just ridiculous until they change the transfer window and the loan system. It will never happen. I mean, what the FA should be doing is putting money into grassroots football and developing coaches. I mean, I looked up some information earlier today. In 2010, believe it or not, Spain had 24,000 coaches, Italy had 30,000 coaches, Germany had 35,000 coaches, and England had 2,700. So that's where they should be putting the money, putting money into the coaching system, and then developing talent through there. So, I mean, we've got a clear pyramid system at the moment. It's not broken, so don't fix it, Greg. It's just not going to happen. The one big thing which has come out of this is that there's football league rules which says that wages are based, they're capped as a percentage of turnover. So you've got all these players in divisions 1 and 2 on 10 grand a week, 5 grand a week, £500 a week, and they're going to be playing against players from these big clubs from Arsenal, Manchester United, City, Chelsea, Liverpool, who are all on 25, 30 grand a week. I mean, these kids are millionaires before they've even played first team football. So, I mean, they're breaking rules left, right and centre. It's just not going to work. That's all I have to say for the time being.
One of the questions I did have for you actually was what effects will it have on the lower teams in the league? I mean, it's renowned that we send our players out to lower league teams to get their experience. Will that affect teams not taking the big players?
Well, I mean, Bayern Munich's B team last week had a total of 328 spectators, and that is the European champions' second string team. There's no interest in it. I mean, the FA have actually come back to us. The supporters directors group, which kind of represents football fans from all over the country, actually said, well, why haven't you consulted fans about this? Because do we want this kind of football within our system? And they've actually come out today and actually apologised, so that we should have consulted you about it. It's not going to make players any better, and it's going to be at the expense of clubs that have been around for 100 years and stuff. These kind of new teams that are going through, they're just going to cause problems. And there's even in the local lower divisions, there's local derbies in Yorkshire and various places that are going to be affected because these teams are going to ruin it all.
And I think the real question has got to be, does the world need another Tottenham? And I think the answer to that is probably, well, it's fucking definitely not. Geoff, let's have your thoughts on this.
I think Rob's hit the nail on the head. He's spot on. I believe it will just be an under-21 league for the youngsters. There's no way in the world that you're going to be, even if you've got a player like Rambo or someone coming back from long-term injury, you're definitely not going to send him down, the 3 or 4 leagues below us.
Yeah.
To get, they'll kick the shit out of him, So it just won't happen. I can't see it happening. I don't see why you've got to disrupt the system and the setup that is at the moment. It's worked for this long, and I think it's a great system where that the promotions are, from the conference and stuff like that, you can go up and you can get into the football league proper. I think that's fantastic. Why do you have a second team system in between? It just doesn't fit right, and it will just be an under-21 league, in my opinion.
And let's not forget, we have the same system in place in Italy and France, and most notably Spain, and Germany, but Spain. John, what effects does it have over there? Because I guess you see it firsthand, don't you?
Well, I mean, you're going to have obviously a good system in place to get you ready for the first team. but it's not really going to promote the quality, on a national level. I think, referring back to what Raj said, I think you need to concentrate more on the youth level, integration of skills and teaching, from an earlier age than by the time they're 16, 15, 16, 17, 18 years old, which is the level, that we're talking about when we're talking about B League. Now, I think, I didn't read too much into that proposal, but I think it went up to 21, 22 years old for what was proposed. And I mean, again, alluding to what Raj said, a Courtois is not going to sit there and go play in a B team. They want, first team minutes at major clubs because that's what their talent dictates. I think it's a situation where obviously they're trying to adjust club football to perpetuate a gain in national and for a national team or to promote regional players, and that often doesn't work out the way everybody hopes it will.
Yeah, and Raj, you got something to say?
No, I think it's just a case of just. I mean, it's a quick fix, isn't it? I mean, if they brought in, it's a quick fix, and it's not going to work. I mean, we've got to invest in grassroots football now. Apparently, we invest £100 million into it, and it sounds like a lot of money, but more is required really, because I mean, there's a glut of cash from the TV money. I mean, Cardiff, a relegated team, got more money this year than United did for winning the league last year. So they just need to invest and put more time into it, and not try and just come up with silly solutions like this. It's never going to work, and it's for the good of all football, really.
I think I saw what you were talking about there, Raj. I think it was 76 million Cardiff got from all the television rights and the end payout.
I thought it was near 90 million.
I mean, that's was it really? The league that I saw had Arsenal down at 92 million, Liverpool at about 94, and City about 96, with all the revenues and everything. I mean, it's crazy money, isn't it?
But then they get a balloon payment when they get relegated as well, don't they?
Yeah, I think that's about 20 million, isn't it? Something like that.
Like 30, I think.
Is it really? Jesus Christ. Kris, what do you make on this whole B team thing?
Can I be completely honest?
No, go for it. We are a pod of honesty.
Couldn't give a flying monkeys. I think it's.
Says here as a manager of a lower league team.
Don't make me say it, because I know a certain Jason will crack up if he hears me say the words.
Not bothered.
I'm a football manager. No, I just think it's a load of old balls, to be honest. I 100% agree with what Raj and Geoff said. It's not broken. Why try and fix it? I think it's in a weird way, it's a vain attempt to try and get the England team competing at the highest level on the national stage, and I think that's at the root of all of this. And the bottom line is they're never going to, so, or not unless other teams go backwards. We're not technically as good as foreign teams. I don't think we're ever going to have the players certain teams have in world football to compete on that stage. So messing about with the game to try and get players through the system, it's just a load of rubbish. And you've seen proof that if players are good enough at the clubs they're at, they'll get into the sides. It doesn't matter whether they play at under 21 league level or go on loan somewhere. If they're good enough, they'll play. And Jack Wilshere proved that. Ross Barkley's proving it this year. I don't really understand what benefit any team will get from having yet another club on their books. I mean, I know it's part of the club, but it's yet another team that will require yet more coaching, yet more man hours in a day. I just can't see any benefit. So I'm just not fussed, and I think we should just leave it exactly as it is and just carry on as we are.
That's a very fair point. Danny, you are a wizard with words, so let's have your final thoughts.
Well, there's so many different. As a fan of all levels of football, there's so many things about this that annoy me. What they should do is get divisions, the conference and Division 2. Because I'm thinking of an old money, which would be Division 4. That's why I'm going to occasionally get this wrong. You get League Division 2. Nope. League Two and the Conference, and then you make them North and South. Because if you look at the Division 2 this season, you had teams where you'd have someone down like Torquay having to go to places like Accrington, which is up the northwest, and then have to go to other places like Burnley, which is right up the north. And then that's going to cost, how much money it's going to cost for those teams. Some might have to stay overnight, how much money they spend on that. They just need to get those divisions, like they've just done in the league below the Conference. They've now got the Conference North and the Conference South. I mean, admittedly, sometimes when you're in that line between the North and the South, sometimes that you can play it and you can be in the North one or you can be in the South one because one league is going to be stronger than the other or weaker. But that's the only thing they should do, is try and have, like the old days, you used to have Division 3 North and Division 3 South. And that used to, or Division 2, they used to do it for that as well. But talking about the B teams in other leagues, in France, in the 4th division, they have 4 leagues, Group A to D. You've got 8 of the reserve teams there, like PSG and Lens and Lille, they all play in the same one. And this season, like Lille have finished 2nd, and then Lens have finished 13th. But then I'm a supporter of Penafiel, which is a Portuguese team. And in the Portuguese 2nd division, FC Porto B have finished 2nd, Benfica B have finished 5th, Sporting Lisbon B have finished 6th. And so it just messes the league up completely. And then you've got Braga and Martimo that are right down the bottom. So my team, Penafiel, who look like they finish in 3rd, as Porto can't go up, Penafiel will go up. Because there's only going to be 2 or 3 promotions there. Because you can't have, if your Porto will go up, then Porto B can't be in the. You can't have 2 teams in the same league. So that's never, you're not allowed to do that. But I'm sure there was one occasion, I'm going to have to go and look for this because it's interested me now, where the A team got relegated and the B team got promoted. And I think that's only ever happened once in European football that I can remember. But
the same thing happened in Spain with Villarreal last year.
Yeah, tell them what happened.
Well, Villarreal obviously got relegated. Their B team was in 2nd division in kind of mid-table, but they had to be relegated to the 3rd division because the A team came down. And even this year, I live in Sabadell, which is right outside of Barcelona. And the Barcelona B team, which Sabadell beat this weekend, is actually in the 5th position, which is the 3rd playoff spot. And Sabadell is in the 8th division, only 2 spots off of the playoff spots. So Barcelona B automatically gets removed from those playoff spots, so everybody moves up the spot to try to reach those positions. So, I think it gets into a very murky waters when you start trying to, from the proposal, like I said before, I think messing with club football the way it is now is in England is kind of, foregoing club football for national team football.
I think another way it could be done is partnerships. Like Arsenal used to have a little bit of a partnership with Barnet. And then I think other clubs have partnerships. And then just say you're allowed to officially link up with a lower league team. They've got to be League 2 or lower or conference. Then you maybe say you can only lend them 5 players during the season. And then just have regular things like that, because I think that would work out much better for everybody. But you can't go having B teams because, like someone said earlier about the Bayern Munich game and the reserve one, no one gives a fuck about it. Who are you going to go along and cheer? The poor teams that play, the only slight advantage might be if you've got a player coming back from injury, like a Jack Wilshere or a Walcott coming back from injury, and then he's playing for Arsenal B against Notts County at Notts County. Then a load of Arsenal fans are going to go up there to see his comeback game, because some of the Arsenal reserve games or under 21 games, I think they get quite high crowds. I mean, back in the day, used to get quite. I mean, Mark and Andy will know about this. Our history blokes, but used to get real high attendances for some of the reserve games back then. But Greg Dyke is just an idiot.
Oh, but I was going to say, Danny, that even that doesn't happen like partnerships with lower league clubs anymore, because you try to sell a club in different parts of the world. You've got, teams like Man City, old Sheikh bin Man the 7th has gone over to America and set up a partnership with, is it some New York team or something
New York
like
FC.
that? And it's just like, well, you're sending the talent over there. Well, why didn't you keep it in this country? I can see the pros and the cons for it, but for me, I think I'd have to agree with everything what you said. I don't really care about it. I think, if it's not broken, why do you have to fix it? Right then, we'll move on, and our main segment tonight couldn't be anything other than Saturday's massive game at Wembley. To get you in the mood, we're going to talk about our favourite moments and why not winning Saturday is unthinkable. So first of all, I'd like to see what team you'd field for the game. Any question marks over Fabianski and Sanya and whether they should play or even deserve to play. Kris, let's have your starting 11, please.
Okay, so my start 11, I would go with Szczesny, personally.
Oh no, in fact, we'll do this a different way because this has been a little bit unplanned. So, Kris, if you want to say one, and then we'll go to different people, and then we can debate it. So, we'll start off with Szczesny, you're saying?
Yeah, I'll say Szczesny. Just to say why, I'm not 100% sure that he will play, if I'm honest. The hints that Arsene has come out with this week almost suggest otherwise. And that there was that interview that Shez gave where he said something about that he would support Fabianski if he got the place, and that he'd be fully behind whoever got chosen. And I'm just wondering, why would you say that if you pretty much know you're going to start? So maybe he won't, but if it was me, I would pick Szczesny just for the longevity of what a cup win could mean for him and for the squad that play.
See, I think Danny mentioned it, whether it was last week or a few weeks ago. You can't have Szczesny being the only player in that team that's not got a winner's medal. No. Danny, can you elaborate on that for us again, and which one would you choose?
Oh, Szczesny all day long. I mean, even if Fabianski was going to be at the club next season, I still say no. Our best goalkeeper plays in that game. I don't care who got us there. Doesn't matter. He's our best goalkeeper, and Fabianski's leaving. So when you take those two bits into consideration, you're going to have Fabianski at Schalke next season with an FA Cup winners medal, or would you rather have Szczesny at Arsenal next season with an FA Cup winners medal just like the rest of his first team mates? It's a no-brainer.
We'll move it along quickly then, as we've got, squad pretty much picks itself after the next one. But would we all go for Szczesny over Fabianski, guys?
No.
You wouldn't? Raj, can you explain to us why?
Quite simply, exactly the opposite to the bearded wonder, what he's just said, basically. I think he's earned that place in the team at Wembley, and I wouldn't give it to Szczesny at all. I'll give it to Fabianski and trust him with it.
Loyalty, I like it. Geoff,
I'm into loyalty. You've got to have loyalty in this game. You've got to have loyalty.
You have. It's always time and space for a little bit of loyalty in today's modern game. Geoff, who do you agree with, Danny or Raj?
No, I've got to go with Szczesny, mate. You've got to play your best team. Listen, on another day maybe, but not. We're so in need of a trophy that we can't leave anything to chance. Not that he will. I've got 100% confidence in Fabianski. But he is leaving us at the end of the season. Szczesny's staying. He's going to be the Arsenal goalkeeper for a number of years, in my opinion. And let's get him to win a trophy. He could even go on to be an Arsenal captain, Szczesny. That's in my opinion. So need that silverware. So you pick the best team, and you don't worry about sentiment.
And John, your final thought on the goalkeeper?
Well, for me, it's, very simple. I was kind of on the fence at first, but then, after thinking about it, so Szczesny, I think it's a no-brainer. Are you going to embark on this next, 5-6 years where you're building the squad, going for trophies with somebody that's leaving or with somebody that's staying? So for me, it's a no-brainer.
Right then, so our choice for goalkeeper, sorry Raj, is Szczesny for this game.
Is that what you'd pick, Gim?
Yeah, I think I probably would, for exactly the same reason you mentioned, Danny. As much as you can say well done for Fabianski for getting us there, and as long as he's been at the club, he is moving on, and I don't think we can forget that. Szczesny is the future. He should play in goal, if not just for the experience of, again, playing in another final. I think, he's got to be there. And plus, I can imagine that Szczesny has got skeletons in the closet from the Birmingham game that we won't mention or even go into any detail about. So it'd be nice to actually go to Wembley and get a medal around the boys' neck. So, for me, Szczesny. But
let's not feel too sorry for Fabianski. He's fucking off with a medal and a nice wage. So.
Yeah, exactly.
How about someone else said? Start Szczesny near the end of the game, bring Fabianski on with 5 minutes to go.
Yeah, I said that.
I know someone said it. It weren't my idea.
Should do that. I'll be into that if we're 3-0 up with 20 minutes to go. Bring him on.
Play him up front.
Great idea.
Such a twat. Right, we pretty much
say that when he fucking scores.
Yeah, whatever. Right, we've pretty much got the same scenario then with Sanya and Jenks. There'll be a lot of people that saying that Sanya's going to bail on us, so why should he play? And then you've got the other side of the coin, which is all the fans saying, he's our best choice in that position. We should field our best team. Sanya should definitely play. Geoff, we're going to go to you. Sanya or Jenks?
It's not even a debate, is it? Definitely.
I don't know. I just,
Nah.
you know.
No, it's not even a debate. Sanya for sure. Forget about Jenks. That's
Why
not going
wouldn't-
to happen.
Why wouldn't you play Jenks in the final?
First of all, that Sanya deserves it. He's been a good servant for the club. I think he deserves it, not only just for his performances this season, but he's been a good servant for the club. He's never really got out of hand, you know. I think he deserves to play, as simple as that. And he's the best player out of the two of them, bar none.
And you've also got the possibility that if he does decide to go to Man City, you could get someone like Vermaelen to come on and clatter him if we're 3-0 up with about 10 minutes left, and injure Sanya, get Vermaelen sent off. Vermaelen's going anyway. I mean, in a dream world.
Your own player.
Yeah.
Jesus, what have you been on? The catnip?
Well, if he wants to go Man City, you can go fuck
You
yourself.
can't go and beat your own fucking players up.
Well, Newcastle did it a few years back with Bowyer
Ask
and
Joey
Dyer.
Barton.
And David Batty had a punch up on the touchline in the European game as well for Newcastle.
I would say if you can't beat them, join them, but, you know, you can't really say that. John, on Sanya and Jenks, do you agree with Geoff, or would you be a bit left field and start Jenkinson?
No,
I mean right field.
Oh, you are right field, yeah.
Right field, yeah.
Turn
no,
the phrase.
Sanya all the way. There's no way that, you know, although I think he's developing, he's made some strides. Jenkinson on the right, for me, when I see that as our first 11, just gives me, you know, shivers. No. Sanya all day long.
I think, yeah, the one thing that with Jenkinson that sticks with me is I can't remember what game it was when he went to header it back towards the keeper, when he should have just fucking hoofed it. And
Chelsea in the cup.
That was it, wasn't it? Yeah. And you just think to yourself, a mistake against that in a Wembley final, I can see it happening all day long. Really, I can, because it's a kind of.
What about Swansea last year when he gave the ball up to Michu and we lost 2-0 at home?
Yeah.
I mean, he's probably a little bit too error-prone to play in such a massive game, although you couldn't question his commitment because, as you could tell after he scored the goal at the weekend, absolutely loves the club. But that, on merit alone, doesn't get him into the first team for me. Would everyone then, just to cut this short, go with Sanya for the final?
No.
Yep.
Yeah.
Who said no?
Me, fuck him, the mophead twat.
This is going about 4 hours tonight, isn't it?
If he's going to leave the club, go fuck yourself. If you should have kept that quiet, there should be no talk of it, but he's made it clear he's leaving. Fuck.
So
But hang on a second. Just to play devil's advocate here, he hasn't actually said anything at all on record, and I know what everyone's getting at. I'm pretty sure, Danny, you may well be getting to the comment that appeared on a certain lesbian's Instagram account. I mean, okay, yeah, granted, I think I spoke to John about this the other day. It wasn't the most sensible thing to put on somebody's picture, and if he'd have just said congratulations, nobody would have said anything. But the simple fact is that we live in a world where, you know, if I want to take a dump on Twitter, everyone knows I've taken my trousers down before I've even got in the bathroom, and that is the way of the world. You know, you only have to make a slight faux pas or post something, or, you know, you only have to do one little thing. If one person who's got a right amount of followers gets on it, jumps on it, it's all over the place. You know, if one of our youth team players posts something on Instagram tonight that isn't Frimpong, for example, you know, and just says, I think that everyone's cunts, no one will say a thing because nobody will see it. But somebody obviously got wind of this. It went round Twitter like wildfire. And then from that, everyone then immediately said, right, he's gone, he's left, he's playing for Man City, he's doing this, he's doing that. The guy has said nothing. And as far as I'm concerned, you know, he's still an Arsenal player. He's still the best right back that we've got by an absolute street. And he's got to play. And okay, yeah, if we win the FA Cup and he comes out after the game and says, bollocks duel, I can't be asked to be here and I'm off to City, then by all means throw stones at him or whatever you want to do, but not literally, obviously. But
he would never replace Zabaleta at City anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And even if he goes to City, and I know it's a big if, but even if he does go to City, that's life, you know, it's a business. The guy's given us however many years, was it 2005, 6 he came?
7.
Okay. He's given us probably the best years of his career. He's not going to get any better wherever he goes. If he ends up at City and he gets a decent pay packet, then, you know, good luck to him.
If he does end up at City, you'll all be calling me a genius for my idea early in the show. But
he's off to PSG. He's not better than the right back City have got.
I do think with that Instagram comment, though, just a simple congratulations LHC would have done.
Yeah, I agree. It was the wrong thing to write, but I'm just saying it's one comment, and everybody immediately just jumped on it, and
No,
you know,
I'm
suddenly
not picking on it because of that. I just don't like the fact that he's been offered the money and he's not staying.
And-
Fuck off then.
If any one of you wanted to know what LHC was abbreviated for, it's lesbian horse face.
I thought it was Large Hadron Collider.
Really?
That's what LHD stands for, you minge.
Well, that's lovely stuff. Right, we'll move on then. I think we'll pretty much all be agreed on centre-backs, won't we?
Yeah.
So, okay, well, there's no point debating that one. Midfield then, please. And, John, what midfield would you play?
I would play Flamini, Rambo, Otel. Fuck me.
Arteta.
He's got bigger wings now. You got Cazorla on one side.
I would do Cazorla on the left.
Yeah.
Not mention Ramsey
And
yet.
Rosicky on the right.
Ramsey was a good player, he said.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh.
So you're playing Flamini in the defensive role. I think that's the only one there we can really pick about, isn't it? Flamini, whether it's Flamini or Arteta. That's the only other point up for discussion.
Rambo, Otel, Cazorla, Rosicky.
Ooh, fine.
Are we all having Gibbs at left back, by the way?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty much a given.
Yeah.
Okay. Right then, just debate the midfield. Do we all go with what John says, Arteta or Flamini? Personally, for me, it's got to be Flamini above Arteta. Arteta's had a bit of a stinker of a season.
Let me say it won't be Flamini over Arteta, but it should be.
It should be, but it won't because he's an idiot and he won't do it.
Yep.
The only other thing I disagree with is I'd have Podolski. Sorry, I'd have Podolski.
He's an idiot, did you say? My
No,
God.
he's an idiot.
All right.
Oh, now you've got him talking. You've wound up the boss.
Go on, carry on. I'll ignore that rubbish.
I'd have Podolski on the left and Cthulhu on the right. I wouldn't play Rosicky.
I just for the record, I would have Arteta over Flamini personally.
I'll go on, Geoff. Gav him.
No, I would have Arteta. I think
Slag.
I'm as big a Flamini fan as anyone. I love him to bits, but I think you've got to look at the opposition as much as anything else. I don't think if it was Stoke in the final, then fine, yeah, or a heavyweight sort of team, I'd put Flamini in. But I don't think Hull are the sort of side that are gonna necessarily kick us off the park. I hope I'm right.
But they're going to try because they know that's their only chance.
Well, yeah, there is that. I just think Arteta is. I know I've stuck up for him before. I don't think he's as bad as a lot of people seem to suggest. Granted, his legs are going, but I would still have him over Flamini for this particular game, personally.
I think Arteta and Rambo are nailed on.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I really do. I think Arteta and Rambo are nailed on.
Okay.
There's a decision to make between Podolski and Cazorla on the left.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what way he's going to go there.
Or Podolski and Rosicky?
I mean, Podolski's recent form, you've got to play him on the left, and with Cazorla's form, you've got to play Cazorla on the right.
I think the only doubt is, does Rosicky get in ahead of Podolski purely on that Wenger likes Rosicky in these big games, and he doesn't always trust Podolski tracking back. I think Cazorla, Ozil, Ramsey, and Arteta, like Geoff said, they all pick themselves for me.
Yeah, but
Against Hull, you can play left wing.
I was going to say, but there should be too much talent in the team to not have to worry about Podolski's tracking back.
Well, you'd say that, but then at the same time, it only takes them to get. It only takes the game to be 0-0 with 20 minutes to go, and Podolski switches off for a second, and they're in behind.
And we get hit on a fucking counter.
So to cover for that, who's best at left back for defending? Is it Monreal or Gibbs? I'd say Monreal's the better defender. So if you're going to play Podolski, do you play Monreal?
I think Gibbs is the better option of a left back. Full stop.
No, I'm just laughing at what Raj has put.
I've just seen that.
He's eating 10 Ferrero Rochers and he's drifting into a diabetic coma. We'll send Gimli round for the kiss of life if you get too dead.
I think if you put Rosicky in front of Gibbs, you get better protection all round. You get the experience and you get the tracking back. And Rosicki's not the sort of player that's going to shirk a tackle at all.
People want to play Rosicky on the left-hand side when Podolski's left-footed and so's Cazorla. When Rosicky is right-footed, isn't it?
then who would you move? Then would you switch you'd switch Cazorla in front of Gim?
Left wing Podolski, right wing Cazorla.
No, I won't do that. I'm going. I've made my decision. I'm going Arteta, Rambo, Cazorla on the left, Rosicky on the right. That's it.
So Flaminius.
Ozil's up top.
That's what the fuck I said.
Yeah, Ozil's at the top with Giroud.
Oh, right.
He's in the hole.
How about? Oh, go on. I was going to do Gimli.
See, we're never going to agree on this, are we?
That's football for you. How about the up front though, Gim? Dude, is he going to do the FA Cup and stick with the postman?
Oh,
No.
Well, he played him in the semi-final for God's sake, and the quarter-final.
Didn't he refuse to answer the question when he was asked in the press conference? Go on, Raj.
No, I'm just saying he'll play Sonogo on Saturday.
I think you might be right. I think he will as well.
Oh,
no, surely not.
I'm only joking.
No,
I think
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean,
I wouldn't be surprised.
All the big games, but no, it'll be Giroud, surely.
That's the Ferreros talking, Raj.
Yeah, I'm getting very thirsty now.
He's drunk off the Rocher.
Ozil, Giroud looked back to his.
He did.
He looked back to his sort of. Well, I wouldn't say sprightly, but I've seen milk turn faster. But he looked more. He looks like he's a happy player again when he's got Ramsey and Ozil feeding him. He looks happier. His movement was better. He looked hungry on Sunday. Maybe almost making a point of saying, you've got to pick me. I really, really hope that they do go with Giroud because Sonogo, yeah, I hope the boy makes it. I really do, but I've not seen anything yet to suggest that he's, first choice. No way.
No. So, are we wrapped up or decided on the striking positions then?
About as much as the rest of the team.
We were never going to agree on this, were we? We're just, chucking ideas around, and if any of the listeners to this show have their own ideas on the starting 11, then feel free to drop us a tweet with who you'd have, and we'll get some of them out there and retweet them and get a bit of a debate going. John, what do you make about the striking situation? Who would you go for?
I think it's obvious, Giroud.
Yeah, I think it's.
Listen. Let's be clear. Giroud is playing more of a 9.5 than a 9. He's never in the box. He tracks back and plays, more midfield than he does, striker. He goes off left. He goes off to the right. He sits there and he needs runners behind him, and he needs midfield that will link up with him. So, I think. Ramsey being out for 3 months, Ozil being out for, almost 2 months, that nobody was hurt more than that than Giroud was. So those two playing on Saturday, Giroud is a no-brainer, as a striker.
No, definitely so. Right, then we'll move on and we'll look at the final from all aspects. I mean, we've pretty much done the team, and now we're due to the fans. Geoff, what I really want to know is how important is this game to the fans after 9 years of stick from rival fans, journalists, who they just seem to count the years at the end of every season and just rub it in our faces. 7 years, 8 years, 9 years. Do you know what I mean? Wouldn't it be nice to just win a trophy this year and just shut everyone up?
I don't know about everybody else, but I'm so pleased it's Hull and not someone like Chelsea or City or United or someone that you'd be a little bit, you'd be scared of. Hull, this is the first final that I've been quite calm about. Of all the finals that I've been to, everyone I've been shitting myself all the time. But this one, I don't know why. Maybe it's overconfident or whatever. I'm so cool with it. I think we've got it under control. Our run up to the finals been very, very good. We can only fuck it up. But this is so important for Arsenal Football Club. There's no doubt about it. For the whole thing, for Wenger, for the players, for the club, for the fans, we need to win this FA Cup to shut everybody up, like you said, and then we can move on. And they'll find another excuse. They'll say, well, only 1 year, one trophy in 9 years. That's what they'll be saying. But fuck that. Let's just worry about winning the FA Cup first, and then we can think about the rest afterwards. That's what I think.
And Raj, would you back up what Geoff said?
Oh, he's absolutely spot on. I mean, I'm very relaxed about it, and I think we'll win relatively easily on Saturday, and I'm not being overconfident. I think we need this trophy, you know, to try and get the elephant off our backs, you know. So sorry, that was a Gooner girlism. No, we need the trophy. I've always coveted the FA Cup over Champions League, because I don't think we'll ever win Champions League at the moment. But so it's brilliant. It's brilliant for the fans. It's going to be a great day out on Saturday. Great weather, and I'm hoping and expecting a relatively easy win.
And we will get predictions at the end of this segment. Next of all, I'll go to you, John. And the question that I have for you is, what is your favourite FA Cup memory? And it has to be Arsenal related.
Obviously. 1993, which was my first FA Cup following the club, when we had the replay against Sheffield Wednesday. And obviously it had to be Andy Linnigan heading in the corner.
He's a better plumber than he is a footballer.
Yes, indeed. Says it on his
To
vans.
win the replay. So, yeah, obviously following the club since 91. That's our first FA Cup, since I followed. So, very clear for me.
That's lovely. Raj, yours, please?
Mine's not a final moment. It's one just special to me, and it's actually a semi-final in 1980, and it's Brian Talbot scoring to finally win us that tie after about 3 replays. And I just remember being a kid and 14 years old or whatever, and just shitting bricks for about 10 days during those games. And so that's always going to be my top memory for the FA Cup.
Geoff?
1979, I think it was 79, Arsenal 3, Manchester United 2. We was
5-2 final.
Yeah, we was 2-0 up, and it got really late on, and United scored 2 late goals. The euphoria when Alan Sunderland scored the winner, right? I've never ever had an experience like that ever since watching Arsenal. Honestly,
Better than sex, Geoff?
I don't consider it like that, really, Gimli, because when I perform, mate, it's amazing.
It depends who you're poking, doesn't it?
That's right. But you know what? It was just unbelievable, because we was, I'm sure that, like they do it now, the cameras pan round the stadium, don't they? And they see all people broken-hearted with their hands in their head in their hands and stuff like that. Well, that's how everyone was on the Arsenal end. And in them days, it was I think it was 100,000 at Wembley in them days, and it was 50-50. It was somewhere along the line. There was 50,000 Arsenal fans, 50,000 United fans. They was deflated at first, and then they come back into it. The momentum was with them, and we went up field straight after they scored the winner, and it was unbelievable, believe me. And it's a great experience.
You say that about videos of, the fans, crying or whatever. I will say, just for the record, if it's a child that is a Tottenham fan crying at the end of a loss, I can't get enough of that shit. I love it. And there are videos going around. I mean, there is one particular. He's glassed up and everything. He's got his rims on, and he's got the old Tottenham Mansion shirt on. Oh, just fantastic. Not in a paedophilic way. You can cut this, Danny.
Do you want a shovel?
Yeah, I'm just going to shut up now.
You're back on the register. You'd have to move to another country, like when you left England for Wales.
Present. Danny.
Mine would have to be it wasn't just the game or the goal, it was what that meant. It was Mark Overmars' goal in the 23rd minute. I'm just looking at it now because I knew it's Overmars in the 1998 FA Cup final, because that meant that goal. We'd done the double for the first time since 1970-71, and to be there at that ground on the hottest day I've ever spent in my life at a football game, to be 1-0 up against Newcastle, was just absolutely amazing. And
Nicholas Anelka grabbed the second, didn't he?
In the 69th minute, but that was also the day that I decided I hated Wenger, because he had 3 subs. Ian Wright, we all know about him and his days with Crystal Palace and the cup final, and we only made 1 substitution. David Platt come on for Christopher Wray, and he had the likes, I'm just looking here, Bold, Manninger, Grimandi, and Ian Wright on the bench. And why he didn't bring Ian Wright on when you're 2-0 up with 5 minutes to go, just bring Ian Wright on. He did that on purpose to fuck Ian Wright over, and for that I would always be angry. But
Danny, you love Ian Wright.
Ian Wright, as we all say, as a player, he is legendary. As a personality, he's a dickhead. But yeah, just to think there and be there and go, wow, we've done the double. Because doing the double back then meant something. We've been alive, us to see my team do the double is fantastic. And it was a good goal.
And you briefly mentioned Arsene Wenger there. The final side of the coin, if a coin can have three sides, is the manager itself. We'll go to Raj. What does winning the FA Cup mean for Arsene Wenger and his future at the club? Does winning it have any bearing on his decision to sign a new deal, for instance?
I think he's already made his mind up, but I don't know why he hasn't announced it and made it all in this week, to be honest. It's all been about Arsene Wenger's contract, which is a bit silly. Will it affect the decision? I don't think so. I think he'll be here for another 2 years. You know me, I'm kind of on and off the fence all the time about him. Was recently off the fence, I'm halfway up, and then might fall off again in the next couple of days. I've got no idea. It's all speculation. He's the only man who knows, and all we can do is speculate. But hopefully he'll make his mind up and let us know as soon as possible. If we lose on Saturday, will he change his mind? No, I don't think so.
Would you prefer him to stay, Raj? Is it right now?
I don't. It's this. So you yourself, Geoff, has been going on for quite a long time now about how important this summer is.
Yeah.
And I agree with you on that. This summer is absolutely vital. We cannot make this a fifth transfer window where we don't buy a proper decent striker, plus other players as well. We're so close to greatness. My only doubt is, can we trust the manager to make the right purchases when he's got plenty of cash to spend? And that's where I kind of dither.
The problem that I see with that, if I could interject with what Raj just said about, choosing a new manager or somebody coming in and spending the money. Real Madrid, as we all know, make the most money in football, period. And we've had a list here of Real Madrid managers, Queiroz, Camacho, Ramon, just one after the other, Capello, Schuster, Ramos, Pellegrini, Mourinho, Ancelotti, and none of them have been able to get to the final until Ancelotti this year. So I don't think there's you can equate spending the money with success, because that club has spent more money than anybody else, chasing the 10th European Cup more than anybody else, and they've not come. Obviously they've come close, the semifinals, but they haven't reached that final until this year. After how many millions spent.
They've spent 1.3 billion in the last 9 years or 10 years or whatever with those managers. I'm not talking about the Champions League though. I'm after the Premier League, and we're only 2 players short.
Absolutely.
We've got a great first 11 at the moment. We just need that striker.
But even then, you're only talking about 2007, 2008 when they won the back-to-back, and then one recently a couple of years ago. So it's not like you can sit there and equate money with success as well. Look at the early, Manchester City teams. They didn't win as much, per pound spent that everybody thought they would.
But look at Chelsea as well. Sorry, Geoff.
So yeah, I know it's been the last couple of seasons we've seen City and Chelsea chop and change managers, but from days gone old, the best teams and the most successful teams are the ones that have had continuity, and I think we're in a great position now, Arsenal, where we've had to pull our belt in for the last 5 or 6 years, 7 years maybe, since we've had the move. There's no doubt about it. We've now got the funds to hand to go and at least compete. We're never going to be able to spend Man City or Chelsea. That will not happen, unless FFP really does come in and make a hold on it. I don't think it's going to happen. But anyway, so we're never going to be able to outspend those guys. But we are in a position now. We need that continuity. I think Wenger is is the best placed to take Arsenal Football Club forward, because if we get another manager in, they're going to need 2 or 3 years, and if we're going mad now at getting rid of Wenger for getting us in the cup final and again making 4th place, we drop down to 6th or 7th or 8th or 9th place halfway through the season. Everyone is going to be wanting the manager gone, and I don't want to be a club like Chelsea. I don't want to be a club like Man City where we keep on changing the managers, because it does not work.
United lost £35 million this year for not making the Champions League.
Exactly. Well, it's a lot of money, and it makes a difference. It's one top player, isn't it? And so we've got this continuity. I think he's definitely best positioned, and we've got a right chance this year. Whether or not we can sign that top class player, let's hope we can. Are they out there? Or he'll have to find something from somewhere, but we definitely do need a striker. No doubt about it, and he knows that.
Geoff, the main question to you is, a lot of people are actually saying that he's already signed a deal. Can you enlighten us on that?
No, but nobody knows. Not even the coaches, not even the staff. Nobody knows whether he signed a deal or not. I think John and Raj said, I think it's done already. But we don't know until he signs. I don't know what it is. I think he's maybe just concentrating on the cup final. Concentrated on the end of the season, then concentrated on the cup final. He's always been a man of his word. He said he's going to sign, so let's just leave it at that. I think he's going to sign.
Right then, I think that pretty much covers everything to do with the game, apart from wishing the boys the best of luck for it, and let's all hope for a win and our first little bit of silverware in quite some time. But we'll end this segment by getting some predictions, and I'll go to you, Danny, first.
Well, I've put a bet on. I've put 4 bets on. I've put 3-0, 3-1, and I've put 3-0 Ramsey, 3-1 Ramsey. So I think Hull are going to be nothing. We beat them 3-0 at their place. They're an average team. They're 2 best strikers who they can't play because they're cup tied. So the other 2 strikers have virtually not really played much this season. I don't rate them at all. They've only got one half decent player, apart from the 2 strikers, because Jelovic is right. It's Huddleston.
And I was going to say, don't say Fatty Huddleston.
Oh, he's a minge. So I'm going to go 3-1 Ramsey.
Fantastic.
If I get that, I win 270 quid, which I shall spend on crack.
Lovely stuff. Send some my way. I didn't know they did a crack flavoured mini cheddar.
Oh, so you know how when you open your bag of crack, if it's off.
Yeah.
If you open the bag and it doesn't go, your bum cracks off.
Yeah. It's a third world problem. Kris?
I was gonna go 3-1 as well. No, I'll stick with 3-1. I won't change it. First scorer wise, I've got a funny feeling that Mr. Ozil will own this game. I really do. I think I think big players perform on the big stage. Got a sneaking feeling he might get the first goal.
Interesting. John?
I'm going to go 3-1 Giroud.
Lovely.
With a cause header off a corner.
Oh, do we get extra points? By the way, I forgot to say, Geoff, you're the only person that can pretty much catch you up in the predictions league is FK, and like we said earlier in the show, we don't know where he is.
He can't catch a cold, mate.
But what are we doing for points on this, Danny?
Triple, quadruple.
Crooked.
We're going to flip the table at the end of the season and I'll be champion.
Triple.
It's crooked, mate. Crooked.
No, I think we're going to have to stick to double.
There ain't enough fucking points.
Why is
for
it
you to be
double?
top.
There's a steward's inquiry into double, mate. What's all this about?
You're
Hold on a
going to
minute.
win it.
Yeah, hold on a minute. Yeah, but just in case shit happens, mate, and I don't, right? It would be terribly, terribly unfair that you change the rules one game before the end of the season. This is not fair. I mean, I've been putting my taxes all the way through the season till you change the rules. But fuck it, we'll have double because I don't care anyway.
Lovely stuff.
Well, you're 7 points ahead of FK, and FK couldn't find his arse with both hands. All you need is even if you just get the right scorer, you've done it.
I've got my celebration sorted out anyway, so don't worry.
Well, me and Gimli were just talking before the podcast. We've actually picked out a trophy. And get the trophy made up. It's going to cost 12 quid.
That's
well deserved.
It's a beautiful thing, and
it's a beautiful trophy, actually.
Is it?
Yeah,
it is.
Engraved, and then we're going to get it sent to.
I'll have it on my mantelpiece. I'll have to take a selfie, but I don't know. I'll cover myself up, won't I?
Yeah, a Groucho Marx full moustache, glasses, and nose on.
One of those fucking anonymous masks.
Yeah, I'll find something.
Anonymous mask. Yeah, so that'll be winging its way to FK. It'll be in Geoff sometime next week. Whenever it gets all done.
Rash, if we could have your prediction, please.
I think it's going to be a nice, relaxed 3-0 win. I think Giroud will score. I think Ramsey will score again. And Fabianski will save a penalty. I think the Arsenal fans, sadly I didn't get a ticket in the ballot, but that's fine. It's not a problem. But I hope everyone has a great time on Saturday and really enjoys the day out.
Haven't you got any strings you can pull, Raj?
I could have, but I took some work on now. I'm going to go the old-fashioned way and just listen to it on the wireless at work, at a gig, basically. So there you go.
While slamming the dashboard, squeak.
He sounds as old as our Steve, doesn't he? Wireless.
It's the wireless.
I'll say wireless. I always say wireless.
So do I.
I say, yeah.
It's good though. I don't think I could watch it on TV. I'd just be too stressed and I'd be pacing up and down and feeling
Stuffing
nauseous and
yourself
stuff. So I'll
he'll be
I'll
eating
watch it.
chocolate.
One of
I'll
those
watch it with a
fever
few
pitch
others.
kind of moments. You can't look.
No, I just don't like. I don't like watching it on TV. I've just never really enjoyed it. You
It
know.
won't catch on anyway, don't
Yeah.
worry.
But I wish them all the best, and I wish everyone has a great time on Saturday. I hope they have a fantastic day out.
Yeah, here. Geoff, are you the last one?
Yeah, that's me. I mean, there's nothing like a cup final. Don't get me wrong, that the league is fantastic. You know, the hustle bustle of it, and you know, 1 minute you're up, next minute you're down. But the cup final is a fantastic day out for the fans. I'm lucky enough to have been at all the cup finals in 1971. And like I said before, never enjoyed one of them until after the game. I fancied we'd be all right. 2-0. I'll let you choose the scorer.
Giroud. Change your habit of a lifetime, Geoff. Go Giroud.
Yeah, well, so Oliver Giroud 2-0. It's going to score on 35 minutes and 55 minutes, and then that's it. We'll all get the sunbeds out and all that for the last 30 minutes or something.
Beautiful stuff. Just time for anyone to go and have a pleasure wank before we actually lift the trophy.
Yeah.
What the fuck are we going to do if we lose, though?
Don't even think about it.
Shut up.
Won't happen.
Go off Twitter for a week.
My God.
It'll go mental.
But I'm going to actually go. John, what did you go, John?
I went 3-1 Giroud and a caveat of a cause header off a corner.
See, I can catch you up in the league. I can finish above you and just nick third spot. I know I'm level on points with Gav, and just because I'm founder.
No. Gav is 1 point ahead of you because he didn't get any points for the draw at Bayern.
Fuck off. If it's gone, it's gone. He can't have any more points. There's a cut-off date, right?
No. But he said that it would be a draw, 2-2, and it was 1-1, and he got no points.
Well, I didn't hear that. Danny, did you hear that?
No, I saw it in the WhatsApp group.
No, you didn't.
I didn't, apparently. It's been an executive decision.
Yeah, but you get a point.
No, but it's on the website. 2-2 draw, and you gave him 0 points.
I think someone needs to go and audit that because I reckon my fat fingers have fucked most of that up. I'm top.
Your chubby fingers have lost me points or lost me a place. So fucking get on that site.
Why do you want to finish third? Fourth is the place to be.
They don't.
Do you know what? The fourth place.
For your chubby fingers to make typos today.
A fourth place trophy suits Gav, as it happens. I think it's very fitting.
Have a little ponytail stuck on the back of it.
Jesus. Did I say I was going to go 3?
I'd have caught Geoff if I wouldn't have changed half my fucking scores.
5 minutes into the game.
So if I hadn't have had my period off the podcast, well, that sounded wrong. But if I hadn't have had that,
if you hadn't reached puberty,
if I hadn't have had that month off where I wasn't in the WhatsApp group doing predictions, I'd have fucking smashed a lot of you. I would have. Can't put it any simpler than that. Right then, the home straight of the podcast sees us delve into the world of transfers and debate some of the stories coming out in the press this week. I got a bit of stick for my Carlos Vela tweet because personally, I don't think he's good enough, and I don't think he was good enough, and I think if he was good enough to start with, he'd still be there at the club now. But we will start off with Vela, and Geoff, what's your thoughts on this one?
Well, yesterday there was a lot of action on Twitter about Carlos Vela. So I thought I'd make myself busy. I went ahead and asked the question, and there is absolutely no talk throughout the club about Carlos Vela. Now, that's not to say that there isn't. I'm not saying that my man is the be all and end all of it. They might just be keeping it all quiet because of the cup final and stuff like that. However, apparently there wasn't any talk. Nothing was ever mentioned. I spoke to a journalist contacted me today who's quite close with Sociedad, and he had a conversation. And he said that there was a clause activated on Friday for £3.2 million, and Arsenal have up until the 10th of August to either pay or make a decision whether they want to purchase him or not. The Sociedad president was apparently in London today and yesterday. and he is over to negotiate with Arsenal because he seems to believe that Arsenal only want to buy him for the buyout clause so they can resell him for maybe 15 or 17 million euros or whatever. So they are apparently, this is obviously all what he's told me. I don't know whether it's true or not. He seems quite an established journalist. He's got nearly 50,000 followers on Twitter. So, you've got to give him a little bit of credit. But he said that the president was over because they was worried about the clause, and he wanted to put in a sell clause that if Arsenal sell him, then Sociedad would get some money for it. So, and that's as far as it goes. Apparently, it's been in the San Sebastian press and everything, but as far as I know, there's nothing happening with Carlos Vela. But this journalist seems to think there is. Make your own minds up, boys.
We will come back to you at the end of every player for a Geoff Arsenal likeliness rating on each of the players we talk about.
That'll be interesting.
We're doing that 1 to 10, so if there's no chance, it's going to be a 1. If you think it's going to happen, Geoff, then I'd like you to award it a big fat 10. John, you are a man that will watch Vela week in, week out living in Spain. Like me, a lot of people will say he's not good enough. Do you agree with them?
Let's just put it this way. He has 15 goals this year in La Liga. One of those games was versus Celta de Vigo, got 4 goals. And Granada, he got 2. In total, he has 4 goals versus Celta de Vigo and 3 versus Granada, which is 7 out of his 15 total. Which means he has 8 goals versus the others, none versus the top teams. He has 1 assist versus Real Madrid. Everything else, as far as his 15 goals, 13 assists, has been against lower level teams. He plays on the right. We have Gnabry, we have Ox, and we have Thea on the right. I just don't see any plausible scenario where Vela is an option for us, to be honest. He's not big enough. He's not fast enough to compete in the Premiership, and that's why he was sold in the first place. So, for me, I think it's a non-starter.
When I was talking to this journo, he goes to watch Sociedad every single week, well, every fortnight maybe, but watches all the games, and he said he's been outstanding for them this year.
Absolutely, he's been outstanding versus lower level competition.
Yeah, well, he said he's been one of the best players in the league. I don't know, because I've not seen him every week. I'm just saying to you what he said, but he's been outstanding form. He's got 15 goals, 14 assists. Last year he got 14 goals and 17 assists. I voiced the same opinion as you, John. I said, listen, he had a chance before. Didn't really, or Wenger didn't really fancy him for whatever reason. Maybe he was a little bit inexperienced at the time. My opinion of it, I would, for the money, I'll take him back just to have a look at him. It's not going to, it's not too much, is it?
There's been 27 players this year that have scored 10 goals or more in La Liga.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it?
So, I think it's very, anybody that watches the league, week in, week out can tell you the defenses here are not what they are in the Premiership. And, just on physicality alone, you look at a player where, are you going to choose Vela over Ox? Are you going to choose Vela over Gnabry? I don't think so. And
John, hasn't he had some trouble since he left the club? Didn't he get into a little bit of trouble with the Mexican national team?
Well, him and Dos Santos that played for a little shit club down the road in Barcelona. He got, he's had his issues with, disciplinary issues. But, for me, that aside, I think you have to look just basically at what we're looking at. We're looking at a, 5'9", 5'10", if you're stretching it, right winger that has failed already at our club. I mean, let's not be, foolish about the assertion. He was sold for a reason. He didn't make it. He went to a less stringent league, and he's doing well. He's a little fish in a little pool right now. I think that he would be foolish to try to go back to the Premiership. I don't see him making it, and anybody that sees La Liga week in, week out, won't tell you any different.
Mm. So we've seen Geoff saying on a monetary basis, maybe have a look at him and sell him on if he's no good. We've got John saying on, ability alone that, it's not someone we should go for. Raj, where do you sit on the whole Carlos Vela debate?
With John, I think on ability alone, we shouldn't even be thinking about it. If we're going to try and spend that kind of money on a player like that, I'd rather give it back to the fans, to be quite honest. So the answer is no from me, I'm afraid. We sold him for a reason, and there's no reason why he should come back to this club.
Yeah, I think I'd have to agree with that. Kris, your take on it, please?
Much the same. I just, for the record, and it's not a knock at you, Gim, in any way, shape or form, but I thought some of the reaction on our good friend Twitter was just a little bit over the top. We've got it in our heads that we're going to spend money on a quote unquote world class striker, and obviously Vela is not it. I mean, he's not really even a striker, as John's alluded to. Pretty much like what Raj said, really. He wasn't good enough the first time around. I did like him. I thought he had something about him. He's clearly technically very good, but I think he is one of those sort of players that his game suits La Liga. It suits playing in the sunshine, and it suits being in a team like a Sociedad where, he might be quite a big star in a little pond, or a medium-sized pond. So I don't really think he'll give anything to us. The only thing I can see, as Geoff alluded to, is if we do get him back if the buyout clause is that low, or the return clause, whatever it is, if there is a deal to be struck with Sociedad whereby we make 7-8 million out of it, then I'm all for it. But keeping him, I'm not really sure that it would really be that much of a benefit to us.
Thank you very much. And Danny, your final thought?
You've got to judge a player on two things, I think. The first one is no matter what league they're in, judge them on how they do in Europe. And that's how you get a better overall test on how good a player they're in. In the Champions League this season, playing for Sociedad, played 6 games, scored 1 goal, and he started every single one of those games, and all but one of them he finished, and they got a 1 point out of those 6 games. So when it comes to playing against, he was playing in the same team as Shakhtar Donetsk, Man United, and Bayer Leverkusen, I think, as the teams he's playing against. And then when you go and have a look at his career in Spain, 123 games, 47 goals. Now, if you look at the players like Messi, Ronaldo, and even not as good ones, in 123 games, they'd be getting 100 goals. You're getting a bloke who scored 47 in 123. That's substandard. The kind of player we need to sign for the club is the kind of player who'd score 100 goals in 123 in Spain. Not someone who's got 47. And like John said, in one game this season, he got 4 goals in one game. So that makes he's got 11 in 35, and you get defenders that get that kind of amount in Spain at the moment, or attacking midfielders. Or
his record in Europe also, he had 2 goals and an assist in the qualification versus Lyon.
Oh yeah, that's the next one below. It certainly did. Yeah, and that was at home, and and he got the assist away.
But I agree 100%. I think that you go to La Liga, the stats are always inflated, and if you're not at that level where you're having this ridiculous stat, output, there's something off. And I mean, we've talked about it before. Even with Costa, before this year, he never had more than 10 goals in Segunda División, in First Division here, in Portugal. So I think people automatically, making that leap that they're gonna be a hit in the Premiership. You got to look at Soldado. I mean, and even Negredo. Earlier in the year, everybody thought that he was going to end up scoring 20 goals, but even he curtailed off towards the end of the year. So, I think it's a big leap. For the money, is it? I don't know, but I wouldn't have him back.
Plus, he's going to be on 50 grand a week, maybe. That's £2 million a year. So straight away, we're £2 million down. And then with the limited squad numbers you can have, plus he's going to be a foreign player. It's going to be one slot he's taken up, or does his early days at Arsenal count him as a homegrown? Who knows?
Right, we'll finish the Vela segment off by going over to Geoff. Geoff, I need a likeliness rating off you, please.
For Vela?
Yeah.
2.
Oh, the mother's boat. It ain't happening. It ain't happening.
It's dead in the water.
Yeah.
It's
exactly.
been goosed. Geoff has goosed it.
No more bonus, people. He ain't
Could-
coming.
Could be totally wrong, but I'm going to go with the info that I received.
Oh, Geoff knows.
He knows. Right then, the next player we have to talk about is Loic Remy. As said on this podcast before, he is a little bit rapey, but he's not because he got let off, so I think we can only apologise for our comments regarding him. He was spotted at the Emirates last week, and Arsene Wenger's comments were something along the lines of, I hope he bought his own ticket, which is,
He was a guest of someone else, apparently, wasn't he?
Yeah. It does strike a few bells when you've got a player like that coming to watch us, but John, Loic Remy, your thoughts on him, please.
I like Remy. I mean, his case has been thrown out, so there's not any pending legal action, and we've had that before with Judas. So, as far as his ability, he can play both wings. He can play as a striker. He has pace. He's a finisher. As a second striker, I think you could do worse for 7-8 million.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think back in his days in Marseille, we looked at him very, very closely. As a player, what do you make of him, Raj?
Sorry.
He's just typing. He doesn't care about transfers.
I don't really care about transfers. The only one that I've got very interested in was Benzema, which is going to come to in a minute. But I'm not an expert on this. I mean, I'm just going to sit back and wait for this summer. It's going to be a torturous summer anyway. So I'm sorry, but I can't give you any input on any of this, to be honest.
But please confirm, and it is a ABW exclusive, that over the summer you will be outing all ITKs.
I will be, yes. We've already started. I've already been blocked by Agent Jim, so that was a bit of a sad one.
How about the Captain Cunt of the how about Captain Cunt of the ITKs, that bloody Indy liar? Indy
Carlia, who's actually a travel agent in Birmingham.
Everybody, I've found the secret to eternal life. Click on this link to my site and you'll find it. Fuck off!
And Fairthorne, whether Wayne Gooney ever turns up, will be on to him as well. So yeah, I'm not. There are people out there like our lovely Geoff who does have information. I'm not really going after them. These people are just bullshit for 3 months, basically.
So the travel agent should not be listened to.
He should not. No, you should listen to him because he'll wind you up, and it's always good for a bit of banter on Twitter, isn't it? Especially in these quiet months coming up. So track them and retweet them.
And will you be wearing a jaunty hat during your expeditions?
Yes, I'll be wearing my pith helmet.
Oh,
we'll be ready for the purge on September the 1st.
Fantastic. Kris, what are your thoughts on Loic Remy?
It's an Arsenal-esque signing, if there is such a thing. He'll be fairly cheap. He's French.
There you go. That's all you need to say.
That's all you need to know. He's a Wenger type player. I don't want to. When I say he reminds me of the Henry signing, I'm not in any way saying that he would be anywhere near as good as Thierry was.
Are you saying he's as good as Thierry?
Yes, exactly what I'm saying. I also think we should shoot
see
more.
The
by
tweets
the way.
now.
We should shoot more as well.
The new Henry.
I just think that he's that sort of wide sort of midfielder stroke striker that cuts in and scores goals. And there's another one I want to chuck at you a little bit later, but I'll come to that in a minute, of the same nature. But yeah, I think he's, I don't actually know what, Geoff might know this, I don't know what the price tag would be from QPR, because that's obviously where he is owned, or who he's owned by currently. I'm also wondering if there's anything that changes, because if QPR go up, well, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? See Harry again, not. But if QPR go up, I don't know whether the price may change or whether the clause changes, because he would be technically a Premier League player again. So that would be interesting. But yeah, he's an Arsenal signing. I think if we're looking at spending a large amount of money, sort of Ozil money on a striker, the market is very, very small for such things. With Costa already gone, I don't think we were ever really interested anyway in the first place. There's not many that are available. So if you have to go down to the sort of the next level, he's Premier League ready. He's proven. And I do think there was something in the fact that he was at the game. How much is to be determined, I guess.
I think the way I look at it is, and I think I said it a few weeks back, you look at the bench and you see Sonogo. Geoff, who said on the show a couple of weeks back, can't even score in training. And I have no faith in Sonogo whatsoever. However, to have someone like Loic Remy on the bench, who, in all fairness, is a proven Premier League goal scorer, someone that can get you a goal, someone that would take some of the burden off Giroud and wouldn't be expected to be the main £40 million striker, I think it's fantastic. I think he would slot straight in. Danny, do you agree with any of that, and what's your thoughts on him?
Well, if you rate strikers on a 1 to 10, then you've got to have Ronaldo on a 10, and then you've got to have Aguero. He's going to be a 9.5. I think Giroud is going to be a 7, maybe an 8 on his day, and I think that Loic Remy is going to be an 8, maybe an 8.5 on his day, and he offers something that Giroud doesn't. He's got pace. He can play out wide. He wears the 14 in honour of Henry of Terry. So, yeah, do it. 8 million quid, but I still wouldn't have that as our only striking options. I think we need...
What I like, though, is that Remy and Aurier, the right back, are both Arsenal fans.
Oh, hello.
True.
So they're players that have followed the club, know the history of the club, want to play for the club, which is a big difference than when you're talking about, a Nasri or, somebody else that, fucks off.
A mercenary.
Yeah, exactly. So, I think that, everybody wants to make it a big deal when it comes down to Jenkinson. Why not make it a big deal when it comes down to other players?
I think we have to be careful there because he knows that Jenkinson is an Arsenal fan, and what if Jenkinson takes Loic Remy back to his bedroom? Things could get a bit messy. You want to see my Arsenal kit, mister? Ah, oui, let's go, my friend. Oh,
Jesus Christ. Geoff, we'll end this with you then, and I like Minas right in at the end. Ticks all the boxes, doesn't he? Cheap, French, scores goals.
Yeah. Problem is, Arsenal scouted him 2 or 3, 4 years ago and didn't fancy him. He could have signed him before he went to QPR. He could have signed him when he was trying to get put out on loan from QPR. So there's obviously something there that Wenger doesn't like in the man. It's obvious because he could have bought him. I think Remy has made it known in the past that he would like to come to Arsenal. He's spoken about it before. So that's in the back of your mind. Having said that, I do honestly believe that he would add to the squad. Now that's what Wenger said, no matter what happens, because we have got to add to the squad this year. We do need a centre forward. He's got that pace that we haven't got. He's a man that can run away from defenders. He's a man that can run past defenders with a ball. He's got good technique. And I do see a little bit of similarity in him and Thierry. They're quite similar, to the same stature and stuff, but don't get me wrong, he hasn't got the technical ability of Thierry. But, I don't know. He's definitely not our first target. I know that for sure. But if push comes to shove and he's still around come the end of the window and we can't really make any headwind with our first or second choice targets, I think he could be an option, and I would accept him at the club. Yeah, definitely, because he does offer us that bit of pace. And I would also, if we had someone like Loic Remy all this season, I think we'd have won the league.
I second that.
So you think at the end of the summer, if Wenger's still got the elephant on his back, go for Remy?
Yes.
They'll definitely be going for Remy then.
If Wenger's got Amanda on his back by the end of the season,
all right,
he'd be dead.
Wenger.
I'm having absolutely no part in this whatsoever.
This is the part where Geoff asked this to be cut out.
No, she's all right. Don't
You'll
worry.
mean it in the nicest possible ways, Kenny. If it was...
I love them, mate. Don't worry.
I don't think she listens anyway anymore. So.
No. Oh well.
Hashtag
I'm going to tell her to listen.
Is there any point in carrying on? I ask myself.
No, all I wanted was a bloody likeliness rating of Geoff.
I think it's about a 7 or 8, Geoff.
A likeliness rating, that's what I'm saying. if beforehand, a 2 because he had chances of signing him before. If we get stuck and we're looking around the supermarket, just before the window closes, he might be an 8 or a 9.
Do we have to put any possible Bentner move on hold? That's what we need to know.
Go to the Sunday League team, I think.
So what you're saying is basically we want to make ourselves a nice little sausage sandwich. We've gone down to Waitrose, fucking found out it's shut. Thought, oh bloody hell, where else? Aldi. Gone and got some cheap sausages in there. Low at Remy.
Yeah, I'll take him. I will take him.
It's an analogy, and I'm prepared to take it at this late stage in the show.
Just go on YouTube, the Tube of Views, and you type in Remy goals for Newcastle, and he is bloody impressive. The one thing he's got that Giroud misses out on so much is the ability. The second he gets that ball, he's got a shot on target.
Dan,
as well.
Yes,
Dan.
Geoff. Yes.
Do the same with Sissy as well.
Yeah.
See how you get on with him. Cisse, who
Cisse.
plays for Newcastle. Yeah,
Sissy.
he was shit last season, wasn't he,
Papi Stemba broken kneecap.
Oh dear.
Yeah. I agree with that. And with Newcastle, there was a stat floating around, wasn't there? Something like that Remy had scored something like 80% of Newcastle's goals all season, which just kind of says it all. If he can score goals with that, I mean, they are shit, let's be honest. So,
especially without Cabaye.
What would he do with Theo on the right?
Ozil and Ramsey, and yeah, exactly.
I'd say sign him up, definitely.
Let's be honest, one of us three will get a couple of goals with that sort of supply. Well, maybe not, but
Definitely. Right, we must move on then. And the next player is Cesc Fabregas. John, I know you've got a lot to say about this one, so enlighten us on Cesc Fabregas.
A lot? No. One word. No. No, you fucking cunts. He's not coming.
Okay,
Get over it. It's done.
So the one thing, and if everybody else on Twitter is like me, they're probably not because I'm a prick, but they're saying Cesc Fabregas has got a clause in his contract that says that Arsenal have first refusal on him. You've got to ask the question.
That makes no economic sense for Barcelona. Let's be clear. First in assists, second in appearances, third in minutes, fourth in goals. In a quote-unquote bad season. So you look at all of that. You look at the decline of Xavi's influence. You look at Iniesta moving positions. It's not going to happen. I mean, let's be realistic. Barcelona is looking to upgrade and not downgrade. Selling him would make no economic sense whatsoever for them because we have a clause, I think it's like 30 million, which translates into like 26 and a half or something million pounds. On anything that they would sell to anybody else. So even if they come to an agreement with, let's say, a United or a City for 40, we have a right of first refusal for X amount. So it makes no economic sense for them to move one of their best players at this time. It just doesn't.
Can you enlighten us what the actual clause in that contract was for anyone that doesn't know?
Well, we have a right of first refusal at a set price. Then we have a sell-on clause, which is 50% above what we sold them the player at, which was, I think, somewhere in the neighborhood of 35 to 40. Obviously, these are all vague numbers because nobody will ever legitimize what the numbers are. But we have say they sell him for 40 and we sold him for 35, we get 50% of that 40. So $2.5 million. What's easier, buying the player back or go ahead and making $2.5 million? Obviously buying the player back at that right of first refusal clause is what's, good for us. So, it just doesn't make economic sense for Barcelona to sell him. If you're looking at players from Barcelona that are going to move on, you're probably looking at a Pedro or an Alexis, a Teo, Delafeu, those kind of players are going to move on. But they're essential midfield players. They also have Rafinha coming back from loan. You're looking at those players, not at their first team, options.
Mm. And what would you say to the people that are linking Alexis Sanchez with the club? Is it a goer?
Well, I mean, it's a possibility. If you were to tell me that Alexis and Pedro were both available, I would absolutely pick Alexis every time because he's more of a physical player. He's got the physicality to last in the Premiership. If you're looking for a Pedro, yeah, he's going to score goals, but how often is he going to be hurt?
Very true. Danny, your thoughts on Fabregas?
I'd like to have him back. He won't fit in the system. We ain't got the money. It's not going to happen.
Fair enough. Raj?
I actually thought he would come back, but I've just been convinced by John that he's not going to come back, so I'm not really fussed, to be honest. He left the club, and I don't really want to go back into the past. We'll just look forward to the future.
No. Before we go to Geoff on his likeliness rating and his thoughts on it, finally, Kris?
I pretty much similar to Danny. I like him. I always have done. I'm not against the idea of him coming back, but again, as with so many of these stories, there's so much paper talk. There's so much, I know what's in his contract. Nobody knows what's in his contract. I think if you ask him as a player, would he like to come back at some point in his career? I think he said when he left that he would, always have a place in his heart for the club and all that jazz. Well, if the opportunity comes up and we're offered him, yes, take him. But I totally agree with what John says. It makes no sense for Barcelona to get rid of a player who is the natural successor to Xavi. I can't see it happening.
And also you have to add to the fact that he's come out on several occasions and said he wants to retire Barcelona.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
His heart's in Barcelona. That's the reason he left. I mean, he had no other reason to leave. He was the captain of the club. He was essentially the player that Arsenal wanted to build the side around at the time. We gave him his footing in this country and as a player. Ultimately, he said from day one, every interview he ever gave, he was a Catalan boy. He wanted to go back. He's there now. Why would he leave? I think the only way he would leave is if Barcelona said, we don't want you. And I don't think that's going to happen.
No. See, I am a firm believer that just because he wears Puma boots and we've got Puma as our shirt sponsor next season, I mean, he's going to come to the club. I mean, that's just what I believe. No, I don't really. I think if you think like that, you're fucking deluded. Geoff?
Yeah. It's a long-standing debate, isn't it, whether Cesc is going to play for Arsenal ever again. The problem is, I don't think we're in dire need of a Cesc at the moment. We've got players that can play in that position, if you get what I mean. Barcelona would be absolutely raving mad to sell him because he's definitely one of the best 3 or 4 midfield players in the whole wide world. I just don't think it's going to happen this time. I think it was more likely to happen last year than it was this year. That's what I'm saying.
I was about to say that. Didn't we have this fucking converstion last year?
Yeah.
And I got slated all fucking summer for not knowing fuck all.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Haters, fuck you.
But I think he was more likely last year than he was this year. So I can't see that happening, mate. Our Barcelona are going to let him go. They're not crazy, are they? And we don't particularly need him. We need the money for other areas at the moment. So a rating is 1.
Oh.
But having said that, if he become available, I think Arsene Wenger would buy him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If Barcelona didn't want him,
you couldn't pass a player like that.
He'd be stupid not to.
Yeah, exactly. It was an Ozil moment. It'd be the same thing.
Yeah.
If he's there, you just got to buy him. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, exactly.
He can play him in goal.
The last player that I've got you all to debate over is going to be Karim Benzema. Raj, we'll go straight to you.
I've always liked him. I know I had a little conversation with Geoff yesterday and he said he wasn't quick enough and stuff, but he is a goal scorer. And I got quite excited when I heard that he might be on the cards, but then I kind of woke up and found out it was just speculation. But £30 million is the figure that they were talking about yesterday. Yeah, I'd get him. I'd definitely get him.
Yeah, I think he's definitely. Well, it's not even really a punt, is it? Because he is a proven goal scorer. John, again, you're in a position where you get to see this man week in, week out playing for Real Madrid. I understand he's in his last year of his contract. Is he at Real?
Yeah, but there's several stories, and I have it on good accord that his agent Karim Jaziri has already started talks about his extension for the summer. It's already been verbally agreed, but they're going to talk numbers in the summer. Now, obviously, until you have that signature on the dotted line, everything is speculation. So, is there a chance? Yes. If we go a bid 60 million, 50 million, we can get Karim Benzema. But he's, the closest thing to a 10 that Real Madrid have. He plays, basically he's Giroud with more goals, better efficiency, more pace, and he complements both Bale and Ronaldo. So you're going to get rid of that guy. No, that's not going to happen. There's talk here that Real Madrid is looking at somebody like a Rodrigo once they let Morata go. All this talk about how, they're going to sell Benzema to fund a Suarez move. If Real Madrid wants Suarez, they're going to go fucking buy Suarez. They have the money to do so. They have more operating capital than we do. They have less debt than we do. They make more revenue than we do. So, this thing about they have to sell to buy is bullshit. Sorry to break hearts out there, but it's bullshit. If they want another top class striker, they're going to go get him. The talk here locally is that they're going to go after somebody like Vidal, and they're going to shore up their midfield and their defense before they go out and attempt to sign a striker or an offensive type player.
And a lot of people are actually going to say the flip side of the argument is that their number one target is Luis Suarez at Liverpool, that there's things in the Suarez contract that say that, if Real Madrid came in for him, that there would be a set price. Is that bollocks, or is there any truth in it?
Listen, before this last 3 months, their list was Falcao, Aguero, Cavani, Suarez. That was the top 4. Now, if they choose any of those top 4, it's going to be in addition to them re-signing Benzema. That's why they were so eager to let go of Morata. Jesse's more of a wing player that will back up whoever is there, but a pure 9 is going to be one of those 4 strikers over, getting rid of Benzema. Then they would be in the same situation they are now, which is with only one natural 9. So, it's going to be, if they sign any one of those players, which they could well do, it'll be in addition to Benzema. It won't be, we'll have to sell Benzema to sign this one.
So basically what you're saying is anyone that believes it is barking up the wrong tree in the politest possible way.
Well, if Wenger is willing to spend 50 million pounds on Benzema, Real Madrid will sell you Benzema for 50 million pounds. Then they'll go buy Suarez and Rodrigo, and they'll be happy. But is Arsenal ready to spend that type of money on that player? I don't think so.
One man that could possibly tell us is Geoff.
I'm not a lover of Benzema, to be honest with you. I think I'm not sure that he would make it in the Premiership. I'm going to get slated for that, but he's got fantastic technique. He appears lazy. I think the crowd will be all over him because he appears lazier than a lot of players that we've already had a go at Arsenal during the season. He has got great technique. He's got a decent pace, but he's not one of them players who's going to get the ball and just run past people like your Henry used to or your Bale used to, or you see players do it, I'm not sure because there's not a great deal out there. I would imagine that obviously Wenger does admire him. He's been in for him before. He tried to get him before he went to Real Madrid. He couldn't afford him at the time. If there is a chance that he would get let go by Real Madrid, I think Wenger would be in for him. But I agree with John. I don't really think he's going to be going anywhere. I think he'll stay at Real Madrid. They're a fantastic team at the moment. Why are they going to break the squad up? So I think the rating is. I'd still give it a 5, maybe.
Cool. Yeah, I see you're joining our old friend Gav when sitting on the fence.
Yeah, maybe.
He's been accused of being a bit of a fence sitter. Right then, I know, Kris, you've got other players that you want to drop in. So if we could have a few.
Yeah, I'll keep it brief so I don't want to bore everyone to tears. Myself and John like to have a little natter about European players because we're boring like that, and we like to chat about things like players that we're not going to sign, but hey-oh. There's a couple that I'm really keen on. Aurier is obviously one that seems to be quite likely, so we'll discount him from the conversation. One player that I really like, anyone that follows me knows that I'm quite heavily into my French football for my sins. And I watch quite a lot of the Ligue 1 games as well as Ligue 2. One player I really like is Lacazette Alexandre Lacazette at Lyon. He's probably had his breakthrough season this year. He's always sort of been on the radar of mid-sized European clubs, but he's never really been a standout player. But this year he's kind of taken Lyon on his back, really. Gomez hasn't had the best season, so he's been their main goal scorer. And he's very much in the Remy mould. But for me, he's just that little bit quicker than Remy. And he's a little bit more direct. So he's one that again, anyone that follows me, I'll bore you to tears, but I absolutely love him. I think he'd fit right in. The only other two I just want to quickly chuck in, is, I know John's a fan and I am as well, of Arda Turan, Atletico Madrid. He's built like a tank, fantastic passing range, quality on the ball,
tough as nails.
Tough. I was just going to say a little bit of nastiness. So on the same lines, he's a quality player and he's got a fantastic beard. Not that that's relevant. And the other one, I know John also agrees with me. If we can't get Martinez, there's a lad at Athletic Bilbao, Iturraspe.
Love him.
Yeah, him. He's got pretty much everything that Martinez had, in my opinion, at the same age. He might need to put on a couple of pound or, bulk up a little bit, but I really think he potentially could be the DM. If we can't get a Lars Bender, for example, I think he'd be a good option.
Imagine a Spanish Vieira.
Exactly.
With less pounds on him.
Yeah. And let's not forget when Vieira arrived, he wasn't the biggest. I mean, he was tall, but he wasn't particularly stocky. I remember when he made his debuts at Sheffield Wednesday, from memory, and he came off the bench and he just looked like this sort of string bean guy who could clearly pass and was technically very good, but he never looked like the tank he became, instantly.
Yeah. Iturraspe actually made the Spain provisional squad for the World Cup.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't know, John, do you know what price he would come in at?
You're probably looking about a 7 to 9 million pounds.
So again, it's a prime Arsenal style signing. I mean, why would you go out and spend? I mean, Lars Bender would cost you what, 20, 25 to get probably. It'd be classic Wenger to go out and spend half that on a player that he sees he could develop into something brilliant. So
the thing that sets him apart from most defensive midfielders is that he has that final ball.
Yeah.
He can make a play. He can make an assist. So he's very much in our mold.
Yeah. They were the only three I wanted to chuck in. There's a couple of other ones, but I won't bore you with those.
No. Geoff, is there anything or any players that you've heard of that we haven't talked about tonight, or is there any little nugget of information that you can give us?
No, way too early, Gim, to be honest with you, mate. It wouldn't be fitting for me to start announcing out to the podcast world and Twitter what targets we got. So I think we better keep the powder dry for now. Let's get a little bit closer first. Plus I get too much stick anyway.
But I can confirm that you will be updating everyone throughout the summer on the podcasts, on your Twitter account.
I'll do my best, mate.
And for people that don't already follow you, I can't believe that there's many people in the world that don't already. Your Twitter handle is at Simply Geoff Arsenal. Not Simply Geoff Arsenal, just Geoff Arsenal.
My mum don't rate him. She says he doesn't know what he's on about.
Oh, terrible. It's nice for you to pipe up, Danny, just in time for you to enlighten us with some Twitter questions.
I've just been tweeting, I'm thinking about dinner. I've got an urge for jacket potato and beans.
Just for a change, Danny.
Oh, dear.
Do you sprinkle mini cheddars on your potatoes?
I eat them as I'm watching it cook. We could talk about this for 3 hours, but we've got to be mindful of people and about the time, because otherwise, if this is just us talking, we could do 5 hours on this easily, but we've got to be careful of how long these go on for. Right. Gary the Gooner says, Nigel Winterburn made a comment that Wenger... Oh God! So whenever I read the word Wenger, I read it with a W. Whenever Wenger is not great at tactics, never has been. Do you think we should bring in a coach like Fergie had to work on tactics with the squad, not to take over the team, but to help Wenger where he may be weak? I think yes, we do, because it's. I mean, if a lot of players have said, I think when Cesc went to Barcelona, he said, I've learned more, or some of them said, I've learned more about defending in the first 6 months here than I did my entire time at Arsenal. Anyone else?
Never going to happen, because as long as Wenger is at the club, and as long as he's got a hole in his ass, he likes to have control. I'm sure some of the lads know a bit more than I do, maybe, but from the outside looking in, it's not his style. He likes to control everything at all levels. I can't see him bringing in another coach to do that at all. No.
To the detriment of whatever it means, just he won't do it. So.
No, he's stubborn. He likes his own ways.
So does anyone think that he will bring someone in because it's easier to do it that way?
No, I can't see that happening. I think they'll look at it as a case of too many cooks will spoil the broth.
Yep.
Okay, I shall move on to the next one then. I think this one might be aimed at Raj a little bit if he's still awake.
I'm here.
It's from Guna World 76 AFC. He says, how much money do Arsenal really have to spend this summer? Tim Payton says 140 million, club says 70 million. What do you know?
I think it's nearer, what Tim said is about 130 million. But as I said, I don't expect them to spend 130 million pounds. I just expect them to spend the money that's required to make this team win the Premier League next year. And there's no way in the world they'll spend the kind of money that's in our bank account. So let's not get excited. At best, I reckon we'll spend 30, 40 million.
How much do you think is needed to make the squad a title-winning team, though, Raj?
60? I don't know. See, I'm not an expert on all these players you talk about. I mean, I just rate them when I've seen them. You know, I'll go to the ground and I'll watch them and then I'll make my own mind up. But you probably need to spend 30 to 40 on a striker, don't you? We had that German guy who was going to come in for 8 million, but he's gone to another club now. So Drought or whatever his name is. But fans shouldn't expect us to spend every single penny that's in the coffers, because it's never going to happen. We are a very well-run club. That's one thing I will never criticise the club about. We are very well-run. And so just because we've got 130 doesn't mean we're going to go and spend 130. But we should try and spend 30, 40, 50 million pounds on, 2-3 players this year.
I think that pretty much covers everything, doesn't it, Danny, on that one?
Probably does. Kind of friend of the pod, our Arsenal fan based in Manchester, possibly the miserablest human being, second only to Gav, Richie Lee, says, this is a two-part, this is in two tweets.
Oh my God.
God's sake.
He's your best pal, isn't he, Geoff?
What a fucking idiot that man is.
I wish you tell him like it is.
You're being kind, Geoff.
Honestly,
He's an absolute fucking twat.
You got to give him the airtime and give us his proper Twitter name and let everyone go and have a look at his tweets.
It's at Richie RICHIE no exit. That is the same one, isn't it? Gim?
Rick Lee.
No.
Yeah.
RICK Lee.
Is that it? So this isn't the same person?
It can't be the same one.
Oh, right, okay. Let's just do the first name.
There can't be
Richie
two
Lee.
Richie Lees.
God, I'm glad
Surely.
we haven't slagged him off when he's put out a question for
Just throwing an innocent man under a bus for no apparent reason.
Okay, well, I'll take that all back then. I don't know Richie Lee. I know Rick Lee.
We're unsure. He could be Rick Lee. I don't know. I like Rick, though. Anyway, he says, if Giroud remains first choice centre forward next season, how would you look to bolster our attacking threat in other positions? Or put it another way, if Giroud is Arsenal's first choice centre forward next season, how long would it take for Twitter to explode? Go on, Geoff.
God, mate, if we don't sign a top striker this season to as a first choice striker or to complement Giroud, there will be outrage, mate, for sure. Absolutely no doubt about it. If we didn't get a top striker, we're going to need to sign one of them flying wingers, tricky flying winger that could complement Giroud, and that maybe get us out of trouble. But we'll find someone. I'm sure it this year, no doubt about it.
Didn't you actually say, Geoff, that you said 2015 was the year? Now, was that the start of the season or the back end of this next season?
I just said 2015. So maybe at the end of 2015, at the end of that season, we'll see how we fare from there.
But if we win the league, it meant the beginning of that.
I think 2015 when we will start winning things.
Yeah.
We'll compete for the we'll compete for the Premier League title, and we might even have a go at the Champions League. That's why I think we'd have enough staff to compete.
Okay, right then. I should ask another question. Andre H, who is, I can't even say this because Stokes will go mental if I give out his username. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 underscores. Says, if given a spot on the Arsenal board for the summer to make changes, what would your top 3 priorities be, Gimli?
Oh, my top 3 changes.
Free drugs for everyone.
Oh, do we mean changes as in within the squad? What would I implement if I was manager?
No, if you were on the Arsenal board this summer, what 3 changes would you make to the club?
I'll probably get rid of Arsene Wenger. Will be the first one. Oh, sorry,
sack all the rest of the board so none of them can sack you.
No, I would actually get some football people on the board because I don't think the people on the board at the moment, as Raj said, it is an exceptionally well-run club. However, they know fuck all about football. So, yeah, I'd do that as well, and I'd get some ex-players on the playing staff, on the coaching staff.
What would you do, Raj?
Try and win back the fans, a lot of them anyway. Give back the £2.8 million they've robbed off us and freeze ticket prices for a year. Bring in Tim Payton's home credit scheme, which is absolutely brilliant. If you haven't read it, just look it up or ask him, which they are. I think they might even be bringing it in next year, which will help all fans who go to home games regularly, as well as away fans as well. Look after the fans. I think concentrate on them. Everything else will work itself out.
Oh, anyone else got anything to say on this?
Yeah, just quickly, just to touch on Raj's comment, I'd like to say big congratulations because I know Tim Payton has another business in Bridgewater. He's the proud owner of a butcher's shop. We'll tweet that for all of you that don't know the joke. I will tweet the picture that I took last Friday in Bridgewater to the podcast Twitter account. Everybody wish him congratulations. I hear it's going very well. His pork loin is selling exceptionally well. Yes, Danny, sorry, back over to you.
Sausages.
Oh.
I'll tell you what, though. He gets a lot of stick on Twitter. He used to rub me up the wrong way, but he gets a lot of stick. But he puts his head up above the parapets.
He does.
And not many people do that, and he gets a lot of abuse for it. But he's trying to do the right thing, and people should give him a chance.
He's a top man, mate. Don't worry about that. He is a top man.
We've had him on about 3. We've had him on about 3 times now. We like him.
Yeah,
I always get him mixed up with the other Tim.
I have a battle with him every time I talk on Twitter, mate. But he's a lovely person, and I know for sure he's just got Arsenal at heart.
Yeah.
He just talks a lot of shit sometimes.
Okay.
we all talk shit, but
of course. Of course.
Okay. This last question, I'll put it to John. It's from Lewis Clench. Says, with Wenger... Oh, here we go again. Next time I write these down, I'm putting a V in front of them. With Wenger reportedly looking at Pedro and Di Maria, where does Cazorla fit in if any of them deals go through? Bye-bye, Poldy, ? Because I think he's surmising that Cazorla will go left wing and then the end of Podolski.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't get rid of Podolski anyway. I think he adds a lot on the wing end as a secondary striker. But if we get Pedro, don't even get me started. Don't even get Pedro. He'd be along with Diaby on the treatment table. I just don't think that he's, reliable enough or hefty enough to deal with a Premiership schedule. Ozil had a tough go of it, and he's a bigger lad. So, I don't know. If we sign a winger that's primarily a left winger, I think that you would likely see the exit of Poldy over Cazorla.
Oh, well, there you go then. Kris, do you want to have a word on any of those last couple of things I've said?
There's not much more to add other than I think I can't see either of those. I think Di Maria, with the chance that ship has sailed now. It was a choice between him and Mesut, and we got, in my opinion, the better player anyway. And like John said with Pedro, I think, I won't lie, I think he's a fantastic player, but the injury record would worry me. I think we touched on it earlier. Alexis Sanchez would probably be a better player if you were going to go for one of those sort of tricky wingers, or Christian Tello, that I know John's quite keen on as well. But no,
bigger lad, faster, stronger.
There you go, and probably cheaper as well. And we've covered that a few times. So no, I can't see it. The only other one would maybe be Isaac Cuenca. He was on loan at Ajax, I think, for most of the season. He would be the only other option, but I don't really think if we're going to get a winger, it's probably going to be a Draxler rather than a Pedro, I would have thought.
And how about Tim Payton's sausages? Have you heard they're good, or is it thumbs up or thumbs down?
I couldn't comment on other people's meat products.
No.
That's just wrong.
Geoff, if we could have a likeliness rating that Tim Payton's sausages are the best in the world, please.
Oh yeah, he's got to be a 10, mate.
Oh.
Anything.
That's commitment right there. That's brotherly love.
It's got to be a 10 for Tim Payton. Terrible Tim Payton. He's sausages.
Well, there you go. That's all the questions. There was quite a few more, but I know we're pushed for time, so that'll have to do.
If we included all of them, it would be like 4 hours long. We'll wrap this up then with some shout-outs, and first and foremost, we'll get you, Danny.
Oh, you shitbag. I'm just updating the website. Well, I want to say thank you to all of the fans and listeners and dislikers, or however you want to phrase yourselves, who sent us money for the podcast. We honestly thought we'd raise about 50 quid. It stands at the moment. We had it, put it up on the Tuesday. We took it off on the Sunday. So all the people who are moaning at us saying it's out of order, we've paid for all of the costs for up to this point, and we've paid for all of the costs for the next 12 months. This will cover us up until August 2015. So we've raised £766. And so that's we're thinking of doing many things with it. And so my one shout will go to some bloke give us £100. One person on his own.
Wow, really?
I saw that. I saw that.
Pranev, who is in Gujarat, Gujarat in India.
A-R-A. Say that again, please. I'm going to follow that man, definitely.
I don't know what his Twitter thing
Absolutely.
is.
G-U-J?
No, that's
tweeted on the pod account, and all of us need to follow him. Absolutely.
He's a lawyer in India. He seems like a really nice. When he offered it, he said, "No, mate, don't do that. Just give us a tenner and stick the rest towards charity or something like that."
Bravo, mate.
And he went, "No, you can have it. It's well worth the money." So thanks to him, and even to people who only give us £1.
Yeah, indeed.
Because it's just anyone who gives us any amount of money. Every time you hear this podcast, you know that your money has gone towards to running it, to getting SoundCloud, to paying for the hosting, the web name, to getting absolutely everything, the hardware, everything we're using now.
Danny's cheddars.
My appearance fee.
Yeah.
Tim's sausages.
Yeah.
£600 off
getting Gav's mechanic to level them out.
Yeah, so just a big thanks to everybody, whether you give £1 or whether you like Pranev, you give us £100. Thank you very much to all of you. That's my shout.
Thank you.
I think what we'll do is we'll tweet the picture of Tim's butcher's shop, and then we'll tweet the name of this gentleman that gave us the £100. And please,
well, I'm going to ask him first. I'll email him first and ask if he wants people to know who he is, because he might not do.
Yeah, but to all of you, if we do manage to put his name up on the site, it will be like near that tweet. So go and have a look, and the Guna Love Train, give him a follow. What a top bloke!
And we should also say that £200 come from us at the podcast as well. So we chucked in 200 quid of our own money, so that includes. That's why it's gone up to 766. Because we were worried about it being 666. We thought it'd be the end of times.
No. not really very lucky.
No.
Geoff, you next.
What, shout-outs, mate?
Yes, please.
I don't really do shout-outs. It'd be unfair for me to do a single, one person out or two people out. I speak to so many fantastic people on Twitter.
You should give your end of season shout-out to Gav. I think that would be nice.
Go bollocks. I want him back on next week after the cup final, after we've won something.
Ebony.
He's going to get it, man.
Ivory.
Oh, right. Next, John.
My
what
shout
was
out
that?
this
Hold
week.
on. What was that noise? Did anyone else hear that?
Yeah, I heard that.
Who let out a squeaker? Right, come on, let's have it now.
I'm holding one in. There
it's
could be an
not me.
accident if I let a squeaker out.
And it wasn't he who smelt it, doubt it, because I got headset on.
Indeed.
Not me.
No.
Not me.
Not me.
Oh, someone been
Danny,
man and own up to
Danny.
it. It was probably Danny trying to squeeze himself into that Arsenal shirt from the other week.
The fucking Puma Arsenal shirt.
Oh, dear.
Oh, John, please, your shout out, sorry.
Mine is to a pod favorite, which is at Dave Hillier. Yeah, I was chatting with him yesterday about the Europa League final. He's got a full sleeve tattoo now. So 2-footed tackles and a full sleeve tattoo. What could be worse?
What a double-hard bastard. Raj.
Just one. At MZK90, Mark King.
Oh, we'll follow him.
Yeah, he's just basically just tweeted me and told me that Ferrero Rochers are made out of hard skin shaved off women's feet with their nails clipped. So I was up gagging for the last half an hour. So he's a good bloke, and we have a bit of fun on Twitter. So that's my shout out for this week.
It's beautiful. Don't ask him what pork pies are. Oh, someone told me once, and never again. Kris?
Two quickies for me. One is Ali, at AFC Ali. Speak to her quite regularly. She's a top lass. And the other one is a guy who writes some very good blogs. I think you guys have spoken to him before. It's at Jockman AFC on Twitter. He's a top lad. He's always good for a giggle, and he does write some really good stuff. A lot of it's very passionate. It won't be for everyone. I'm sure he won't mind me saying that.
And I have to moan him to tweet us so he can retweet it. He's so fucking lazy. He can't be bothered.
Absolutely. And it's Jockman, JOKMAN AFC, by the way, not CK.
Yeah, give the lad a follow. He's awesome. He keeps calling me a legend. I keep having to remind him that I am, in fact, a cunt.
And also, thank you, just echoing what you said, Danny, thank you to everyone that has, contributed. And I know, like, people like myself and Jason, who's not here tonight, like, people like ourselves, we never thought we would get on podcasts like these. And obviously, it's the help of people donating money that keeps podcasts alive. So I really appreciate it. And thank you to everyone that's done that.
God, it's quite a humble end this week.
It is, isn't it? I got a tear in my eye.
Are you doing these podcasts during the summer, or is this the last one, or what?
We're doing one after the FA Cup final, and then after that it'll be World Cup ones, but we don't know how that's going yet.
Yeah, we're just going to put this as the official end of season podcast, but there will be something for after the FA Cup, and we will be sorting something for
tossing around an idea of a transfer blog. No.
Yeah.
Yes, we've got a few irons in the fire. A few people that I know are going to blog for us over the summer. John, you're one of them, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm going to be telling the cunts no a lot.
Didn't you put a blog up on the site yesterday, John, that I've forgotten? I've just remembered.
Yeah. Fuck, I think you might have to edit this as I bring up the the site on the Bergie blog.
Arsenal transfer bloke, wasn't it, or something like that? I've not looked. I only just remembered that you told me.
Arsons 11 with the What's Next blog. You can find that under the Bergie blog designation on our website.
Yes,
fantastic.
There you go.
Yeah, go and click and take a look. My shout out this week doesn't go to a singular person. It goes to everybody who has clicked, listened, donated, and commented. We started this podcast a year ago. This is our first season. The comments that we get every week are, I think I speak for all of us when I say that we're just overwhelmed by them. Just so many lovely things that people say. The people that donated, from me, thank you so much. And this podcast, we like it to be as much about the listeners as it is us sitting here talking about, the club that we all love. So thank you very much. It's been a fantastic first year. And I think that's pretty much all I have to say, apart from to thank you boys for joining us tonight. It's been a pleasure as always.
It's been lovely.
Thank you.
Kindly.
Amazing.
Thank you, Gim.
Yeah, thank you. So that was a Bergkamp Wonderland podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you at Wembley. Good night.
Come on, Arsenal. Yeah. Cheeky Mackies.
Mary, put the kettle on, love.
Can I go for a piss now?